snap. How's it going, folks? Welcome. It's Friday. You know what's going on. Do me a favor, check out Lowbrow Saints Tattoo Collective, 3456 Minnehaha Avenue, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Contact for availability via www.instagram.com/Lowbrow Saints Tattoo Collective. Hey, tomorrow, actually, Saturday is their walk-in. They got so much flash down there, man. They do walk-ins on Saturdays, though. Make sure you stop down right down there in Minneapolis. Give Jason a shout for me. Tell him what's happening. If you're looking for some pointy guitars, do me a favor. Check out the Shred Den. Hours Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. 9100 85th Avenue, North Suite 100, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Call 763-350-2191. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, www.theshredden.net. Like I said, pointy guitars, all kinds of things down there. Strings and straps and Tannic. Nate Tannic does fancy instruction down there and has been giving away some really, really cool guitars too, by the way. Look up Nate Tannic on Facebook. He's doing some make a riff stuff, and I think he just gave away his like 27th guitar combo with like half stack, and I don't know, man. He's been doing so much cool shit the last couple of weeks. I actually just booked him today too, by the way. I want to get him back on here and talk about that stuff because he's been doing some really cool shit, and I love the fact that he's keeping the love of this metal stuff and the lifestyle, pretty much keeping it going. So I want to give mad love to Tannic, and we'll get him back on here. Also, do me a favor, check out Narwhal Design Solutions, Justin Boney, Facebook, Instagram, the World Wide Web, Narwhal Design Solutions, Justin Boney at gmail.com. I appreciate you tuning in and all that happy stuff. Do me a favor and welcome my guest, Dylan. How you doing, Dylan?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad, man. If you want to get up on that mic a little closer, make sure we...
Sorry about that.
That's all right. No worries, man. I just want to make sure we get the vocals on there pretty good and make sure that you're in camera here. Let me make sure I move you around, see if I got you. There you go. I got you. Here we go. How you been doing, man?
I've been good. Been busy.
Good day today?
It was a good day.
Nice. Very cool, dude. Very cool. Kept you going all day. You said you were doing some input or something?
Working on the online store, just inputting data and getting product listed.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
I can imagine, dude. I can imagine. I think it's pretty dude, your store is fantastic, dude. I kind of want to give a little bit of backstory, and I kind of put it in the description too. I took a little break from brewing. You know what I mean? I was like brewing a little bit. I hurt my back about a year and a half ago, and I was doing some mead and just kind of messing around. You know what I mean? And I tasted mead at the Renaissance Festival and things like that. And a friend of mine in Wisconsin, she makes all kinds of stuff. She does sourdough bread. She does like all the, kombucha and all the stuff. Nice. So I've always seen her do cool shit. And like during COVID, I was always looking for something cool to do. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, let's try some mead. Mead was a blast. It's still a blast. I make it all the time. I absolutely love the process of all of it. Mm-hmm. But I was looking for a place to go and find and buy other than do it. I'm all about supporting local stuff. I fucking can't stand having to go to Amazon for everything. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like everything. And as convenient as it is, it's only helping the richest dude on the planet. You know what I'm saying?
It's that kind of, yeah.
Yeah. It's not like, it's helping a guy who's trying to make a living doing something cool that I truly enjoy. You know what I'm saying? So when I took a little bit of a break, I was like, I want to try to find a place that's maybe a little bit closer. I found one in Plymouth, and I'd gone over there a couple times. Nice enough guys. Mm-hmm. Now I'm not your normal. To me, I don't feel like I'm the normal guy that walks into a brew store. To me, that's just how I feel, right?
Yeah. So that's how I felt too when the first time I walked into like a brew store. I felt out of place as well. Yeah. But then, I mean, you see the brewery owners and stuff like that, and you're like, oh no, we are kind of the type that does go for it.
Yeah, well, I knew Todd Haig from way back in the day, from from Power Mad days, and I chummed around with him way back when he was at Summit for years. Mm-hmm. So he'd have what I would consider craft beer beyond what anybody else. So when they had parties, they would have Summit and they would have really hoppy beer, and it was never really my thing. But I was always interested, like how did it become like that? Why is it not like Budweiser or Coors Light or Busch Light or all this other shit that everybody drinks? And to me, honestly, piss. So so I googled around to see if I could find another brew shop, and yours popped up, and like I said, it was maybe a little more than a year since I had brewed something. So, but I had stuff from Amazon sitting in there. I had dry extract and different stuff, and I had never done full grain. I never jumped into that end. I just bought kits from Northern Brewer and did that, you know what I mean? And it worked. It was okay. It wasn't too bad. I didn't even want to do it at first, but people kept asking me. So I find your spot and I come in, and the first day, and I put this in the description as well. The first day I came in there, what was cool is that you look like me. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. All right, cool. And then I was listening, as I was looking around, I was listening to you talk to a really, what I would consider, kind of a square. You know what I mean? Like she just came in, she had a failed batch. She was asking you a bunch of questions, and dude, you were rapid fire. You were like, did you do this? Did you do that? You were feeling it out. And at the other shop, now I'm not talking trash about the other shop. They were good. They had product. They did everything. They got me going with my stuff. But I was like, now this dude knows what he's talking about. And then I started seeing like some of the selection of the stuff that you had there. Like the fruit parades and stuff like that, like the bag stuff. Like you had a ton of shit that other people didn't. And I was like, all right, cool. I got to check this spot out. And I kept coming back. And as I kept coming back, I'm like, you would suggest things and we would just kind of shoot the shit a little bit. And I was like, yeah, we got to have a conversation. Cause dude, I'm really curious. I wrote down a ton of shit, man. So like, how did you get into homebrew to begin with?
So I got into homebrew, like the first things I ever fermented were when I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
I had to take like it was a biology chemistry class, and the teacher really glazed over the whole yeast plus sugar makes alcohol. And then kind of was like, that's all he kind of said. And I was like, is it really that easy? So I made some Welch's wine and some ciders like that.
You're doing this in high school?
Yeah, just a little bit, like bread yeast and things like that.
Yeah.
And then I'd always kind of that kind of sparked the initial interest for me.
Right.
And then as I got older, friends and life got in the way, working, college, things like that.
Yeah.
Didn't really get into it.
Yeah.
And then it was probably 6 years ago. I had a job that was paying me well. So I was like, you know what? I kind of want to start actually making alcohol at home.
Yeah.
And so I went to Northern Brewer and bought a beginner's
That's when it was
wine
open,
kit.
right? It was open.
Yep. Well, actually, I went to Midwest Supply in St. Louis Park.
Okay.
And bought a starter kit and did a little bit of research.
Yeah.
And I just really on a whim, I made a 5-gallon batch of banana and apple wine.
Yeah. How'd it turn out?
Really good. I kind of forgot about it for a while because as soon as I started, I the first time I made a batch, I was like, oh, I really like this.
Yeah.
I'm a natural hobbyist. I went to school for writing, studio arts, and graphic design.
Okay.
So I've always been interested in just learning new skills. But when I started brewing, I was like, I really enjoy this. I like the science of it.
Yeah.
So I ended up, I made a 5-gallon batch of mead.
What was your first batch of mead?
I did a very simple. I called it a wild berry mead.
Yeah.
It was just I bought 3 bags of the Costco frozen mixed berries.
Right.
And then I did 16 pounds of honey with 5 gallons of water.
Holy shit.
And then dumped the berries in and let it go.
What'd you ferment in at that time? Was it a carboy at that time or what?
That was a 6.5 gallon bucket.
Okay.
Which is what I actually still use to this day.
That was one of the biggest questions, man, because it's if anybody watches or has wondered about brewing, it's the first thing that I ever saw was a giant carboy.
Yep.
And my thought was, that little thick or that little thin neck on it with all that body to it, how the fuck do you clean that? You got to get a hanger. You got to do all this. You got to do all that. Once I started watching videos, I was like, I'll never use a carboy ever.
Yeah. I use carboys for secondary. Like I'll transfer into them once fermentation is done.
Gotcha.
And let it age and clarify in those. But like fermenting in those is just so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Like
right.
it's just, they are a pain to clean.
Right.
Where I always tell people, like, I'm like, I like fermenters that I can put my arm in.
Yeah.
I got big arms.
Right.
I need to be able to fit my arm in to be able to like actually clean it.
Yeah.
So that's where like the wide mouth, like the wide buckets and stuff just make it so easy.
So how did that first mead, did you go full 100 dry, or did you back sweeten? Did you have?
I did not know about back sweetening.
Okay.
So it was very dry. But it was still really good. Like everyone I knew, like I brought it to every party, every event, because I also had 2 cases of it. Right. So I was like, 2 cases of 13% wine. Yeah. It's like, all right, I gotta get this people drinking this stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, the big thing is that it's like my first experience with mead was the Renaissance Festival.
Yeah.
And I can't drink that stuff.
Right.
Like it is so sweet.
See, that's like, why my wife doesn't like mead at all, is because of that stuff. And when I started making it, I tried to give it a little bit of a drier texture for her so she could enjoy it, because she enjoys a nice red wine every now and again, you know what I mean? But yeah, I was trying to like compromise for my wife's palate, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I didn't mind it, but there were a couple that were just so damn sweet. They're still really good for what they are.
Yeah, they like the Renaissance Festival is really good, but it's like I always say, like it's like I can't do the like once you start getting to the sweetness of like Mountain Dew,
right?
It's like, and then it's 16% alcohol. It's like this is just gonna hurt me. Like
it's like chugging cough syrup.
Yeah, like they're so thick and things like that, and it's like so like even now, I actually tend to be on that like dry or semi-sweet range.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm right there myself.
Yeah,
I really, I just, I don't know. I like the medium. I don't like to go too far with some. Although, now would you agree when like with some flavors, sweetening pulls that flavor out a little bit more?
Oh, absolutely. Like that's one thing is like even on like when I do make like dry meads, I will like stabilize it and just add a small amount of honey back in. Right. Or if I'm using a fruit, I'll add some of that fruit juice in.
Right.
Sweeten it up, not so it's like you could barely call it sweet.
Right.
But it brings the flavor back to kind of like it almost conditions it a bit.
So like now with the mead stuff, did you have? Were you watching videos? Were you asking people? Were you rubbing elbows with any other brewers at the time? Were you?
Nope. When I started brewing, I was the only person I knew who did it. I knew people who had homebrewed or were, but I wasn't like friends with them or anything. They were just like, like a friend of mine's dad was a home brewer for years.
Right.
But I never talked to him about it. I pretty much went to, I got a book called Mead Making by Ken Schramm, and that was really great information. I watched a lot of videos online. Kind of Reddit has some good like a home brewing and a mead subreddit that I went there for. But for the most part, I kind of winged it, and then I would go and talk to the people at Midwest.
Okay.
And I actually ended up working at Midwest.
Did you?
Yeah, I ended up working there because I was there so frequently.
Oh, wow.
Because I was brewing just a lot.
They're like, dude, why don't you just come and work for us?
Yeah, that's honestly kind of how it worked out.
Right.
It was like, I went in one day, and one of the guys was like, "Would you want to work here?" And I was like, "I could do that."
Man, that's pretty sweet, though. I mean, you're like, how far in were you? When you started frequenting the place enough to raise suspicion.
So
this guy's like us.
I'd been brewing for about a year and a half, but then I'd really started shopping there, and like they started to recognize me and they learned my name.
Right.
About 6 months before I started working there is when
gotcha.
they really.
Gotcha. So you were pretty frequent there then.
Yeah, well, I was doing a lot of deliveries,
Gotcha.
like so I was doing DoorDash.
So then you just pop
And
in
I was
and
in
kind of
that
hang.
area.
Okay. Yeah.
So it would be one of those things where like my dash would end and I'd be like, I need yeast.
Yeah.
And I just drop in.
Just make up anything to go hang out in a spot that you love doing the shit. I'm totally there with you.
Yeah,
man.
that's really how I ended up getting a job there.
Dude, I've almost come over to your shop on lunch a few times. I'm literally right in Dayton, right by the Quick Trip right there.
Okay.
I'm right by the warehouse right behind the Quick Trip. I'm right there.
Okay.
It's kind of crazy because I'm like, no, I'll wait till after work because I'll end up sitting there looking at things and wanting to fuck with shit, you know?
Yeah. I've had a few people come in and then be like on their lunch break and be like, "Oh wait, I am supposed to be back at work."
That's hilarious. That's awesome. So now as you're kind of shooting from the hip, you're doing now. What kind of flavors were you rocking at the time? Were you doing any kind of extracts? Was it all fruit and just kind of winging it, or?
So my first batches were definitely just a lot of stuff that was coming off of like the top of my head, like stuff that I'd think and look like. It's funny because like, you know, having learned a lot of the advice you're supposed to get as a beginner, like people are always like, oh, brew a known recipe. And I was like, fuck, I did not do that at all.
Me either,
like,
dude.
Even like when I got into like all grain beer brewing, like I just wrote a recipe down on what I thought the grains would be and made it. It wasn't great, but I also didn't know, you know, like anything about like mash temp or stuff like that. So it was like, but I don't know. I like to kind of learn by trial and error.
Sure.
That's like, so like I definitely had a lot of stuff that didn't turn out great.
Yeah.
But then I had stuff that did turn out really good.
Did you still finish it?
Some of it. There were a few things. There was a couple batches of beer that like I definitely dumped because I was like, something's wrong. Like something where I'm like, I really screwed up in like ingredients kind of aspect, not like contamination or something like that, but like. Have
you had any of that before? Have you ever had any contamination at all since you've been doing it?
Yeah, I've had a few things.
Beers or meads or both?
Both.
Really?
I had a beer that soured. And I don't know where the contamination went, but it didn't like mold over or anything.
Yeah.
And it soured quite a bit in the fermentation.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, it was still pretty good. Like it was something where like when I drank, like I still bottled it, I still carbonated it, and it was actually pretty good for a sour. But I don't know. Like it must have been like a little lapse of sanitation or some wild yeast got in. I've had mead go wrong a few times.
Does it go just straight vinegar, or do you like? I haven't had any real. I've had some when I bottled. I had it, let it sit for a little while. I popped one, and I popped it open. I cooled it, popped it open. And it just had a weird flavor to it, man. Then the next bottle that I opened, the same batch, different flavor.
Yeah. So most of mine have been like, I had this idea I like experimenting with mead.
Yeah.
I like the experimental category is one of my favorite ones. And
Okay. All right. So you got to tell me what is some out there ones that you're talking about?
So, Pico de Gallo.
Oh shit!
I have a Pico de Gallo mead.
Really?
And it's actually pretty good.
Really?
I actually really like it.
Okay, so Pico's pretty fucking simple, right? It's tomatoes, onions, cilantro, right?
And jalapenos.
Okay. Yep.
And
no lime?
I did not put any lime in it.
And
unless because I literally just took like the pre-made salsa, the fresh salsa from like Cub.
Okay.
That's what I use.
Okay.
So they might use a little lime or something in it, but
yeah.
I just threw that in the primary.
Wow.
Let it go.
And it turned out okay?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yep. It's actually really good. I actually recently made another batch because the first one I made a couple years ago, I didn't really do anything special with it.
Yeah.
So now that I have a lot more experience with it, I'm doing it again, and I'm gonna try to make it like really good.
Now the jalapeno would be pretty fucking phenomenal. Now I could see the cilantro going a little sideways because cilantro does this thing after a few days if you have it, and it's not moist. As you go to chop it, it gets this kind of weird. It has a funk to it.
Yeah. Luckily, it doesn't seem to get too affected by the fermentation.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. The first time I made it, I was like, this is such a dumb idea. Like, this is stupid. Why am I doing this?
Wow. How now did you bag it? How do you use your fruit or your ingredients? Do you bag them?
I do not. I just I've done bags and I've used like the weights and stuff like that, and it's good. It's a good move. I just don't do it.
Really?
I've never had like the because a lot of people will talk with like oh, you gotta push the fruit caps down because otherwise it'll mold. Huh. I've been doing this for 5-6 years. I've never had mold on a meat.
Right.
Like with the caveat of one time I've had mold on the meat, and I know everything that went wrong with that.
Right.
So like I just let it float in there and exist in it, and that has worked out for me. Because I don't do that. Like I don't push the fruit cap down. I put my ingredients in, I seal it up, and then in a couple weeks I open it and check the gravity. And
now when we started, you kind of actually want to back up. I want to say thank you to the guys from Venn, by the way, who sent over some fantastic music. That fucking middle piece that you guys have in that Blight is. The song was called Blight from their Ethereal Horizons EP or record. Check it out on all streaming platforms. I found it on YouTube as well. They are a local band, so check those guys out. They have a bunch of shows come up. We'll talk about that in the break when we come back from this from the second break, and we'll talk about their stuff. But now you said right away you kind of forgot about that first wine that you did, the apple.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh yeah,
dude, I don't know how. I don't know how you were able to do it. Now I've done 2 cycles of weed, and the reason I did it is because it was like a hunter. Okay, so I was watching this hunting show, and the guy was talking about when he went out the first time with his dad, and he harvested something, and he ate it, gutted it, did it, everything, field dressed it, brought it into the house, ate it. He said that he understood the full cycle of everything. He said, when you get your groceries from the store all the time, you don't know the full cycle of everything. That's why I had to do weed. I smoked so much weed when I was a kid. I was like, I got to do this. Yep. And the process was amazing. If I could have done it from the time that I did it, all the way up till it became legal. You know what I'm saying? Like if I could tinker the way I tinker with beer without my landlord being pissed or pissing somebody off. I would have a full garden. I would have a blast with it because it's so much fucking fun. You know what I mean? Now, I could never leave my shit alone. That's one of my, you know what I mean? Like I'm checking bubbles. I got everything. Like if it don't start within a few hours of me leaving it up there, I'm up in the morning. I'm checking it. I come home from lunch. I'm checking it. You know what I mean?
That's the hardest thing is that it is like the patience and like, luckily, I tend to get easily distracted.
All right.
Is a good way to, so like, there'll be things where it'll be like, I will actively be like, oh shit, I have stuff in the fermenter that should probably be checked on by now. But then I also do, I do a lot of, with meat, I do the 1 gallon batch size.
Okay.
Most of the time. I do larger batches when I have a confirmed recipe.
Sure.
But that helps a lot too. Just in the fact that I'll start a batch and then start a batch a week later. So I have multiple ones that I kind of have to be checking on and paying attention to.
Right.
So it kind of keeps me occupied so that I can leave them alone.
Right. Yeah, that would now you also said you're a hobbyist too. You like having multiple hobbies. I'm the same way, dude. I've got so much crap going on all the time. I've got a 3D printer, I've got my embroidery machine, I've got this, that, and the other thing to tinker around with. And usually I'm messing with something else, you know.
Yep.
So I understand, but I like what's really funny is as much as I brew, people would think I drink all the time, which I don't. I drink 1 day a week, and it's like when I can chill, I know I don't have shit to do the next day, I can kind of tie one on, or if I'm watching fights, I'm always having drinks when I'm watching fights.
Yep.
It keeps me level when I want to just get up and go, yeah, you know what I mean? Like I can just grab my beer and take a couple swigs, man, you know?
Yeah. And that's actually been like the hardest part too, is like with how much I've produced, is that it's like I've had to, because I want to brew more than I drink.
Yeah.
That is like, so like I have, you know, like if my friends give me like a month's notice that they're having a party, I'll bring 2 kegs.
Damn.
Like I'll supply the alcohol for the party. Damn. Just because I'm like, I want to brew the beer. I want to do these things, you know? So finding a way to get your
when can I have a party?
Yeah. It's that like finding reasons to bring it over. Like, you know, every time I have a group of friends who we play board games. Yeah. Every single time I go over with board games, I bring like 4 or 5 bottles of mead.
Nice.
And I do a little sampling with everybody, and I get feedback from them, because it's like
that's the way to do it, man.
Yeah, because I'm not going to drink all I make. Yeah. You know.
So how were you know when you started off the bat? You said you were sharing right away.
Yeah.
Were you self-conscious at all? Were you like, did you want to know the feedback? Did you want to be like, what do you think of this? Tell me what can I do?
So I came from a studio arts and creative writing college background, so I am all for feedback.
Yeah.
And like I was the student who I was like, the teacher would be like, give some constructive feedback, and I'd be like, you don't need to be constructive about it. You can just tell me. You can just tell me outright.
So you're a realist.
Like that.
Yeah, dude. Why not?
Like I don't like. I've had someone, like I told someone, I was like, give me the real feedback on this beer, and he was like, oh, I really like it, so and so. And then I know he talked to another friend of mine, and he was like, I just don't care for this beer, and I was like, why the fuck didn't you just tell me that? Like I wouldn't have been offended if you don't like it. You know, like I don't. Yeah. I don't get offended by that. So it was like, you know, I like that mentality of like being able to like, you know, it's part of the reason why I like brewing competitions is because they don't know who I am. Yeah. So those judges will rip you apart. Right. And it's nice because it's like, you know, there's things that I've submitted to a competition that I thought was going to be really like a hit there. And the feedback was just bad. Low scores, didn't like it.
Now, okay, so that is like that's a big question I wanted to ask you. For your meads, have you entered a bunch of them to different competitions? I've thought about it, but I'm like, I'm so novice at it right now. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's what I should do just for the feedback.
It honestly, competitions are one of the best ways to get feedback because you are getting it from a blind source. You don't know who's going to be drinking it. Right. You know, I know a lot of brewing judges, but I have no clue who's going to be sampling it or whatnot. Right. So like you get good feedback, and then, you know, like I started entering them probably about a year after I got like serious into brewing and I had equipment. I had entered my first competition, which was Valkyrie's Horn, which is a Minnesota competition. Okay. And I ended up taking I took second place and I entered, like, that competition's like crazy. It's got like there's 10 or you can enter 10 categories.
Jesus. I
entered 10 categories.
Whoa. And so you find out, so when you go to apply for it or try to get into it, they tell you this and this all the way down the thing, and you can choose which one you want to go for?
Yep, because it's always they have all of the categories listed, and then
what are some of the categories?
So in mead making, there's you have your traditional, You have a style called melomel, which is
Yep.
when the fruit's there.
Yep.
Fruit and spice, stone fruit, experimental, sizer, which is apple, and then piment, which is grape.
Okay.
Meads. And then there's quite a few other ones. Like it's like wine, where like, you know, you say the word wine and it's like red or white. You
Right.
know, like what there's all the
Sweeter? Yeah, right.
You know, Cabernets and Carmeners and
Right.
things like that.
Right,
It's
right,
like
right.
mead, as the general term,
Yeah.
has that same kind of distinguishing of
Got it.
like, you know, when you add this, it changes the name of
Right,
it to the
right.
style.
And I've kind of picked up on that stuff through
Yeah.
the videos and stuff that I've watched and everything like that. But it's confusing if you don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
it's a hard
weed.
learning
Yeah, yeah.
curve.
Well, I play Call of Duty with a cat from Oregon, and he would, I was telling him, he's like, what are you drinking tonight? And I told him I brewed beer. We talked about beer, and then I said, I took a shot of my mead, and I sent it to him. Well, his wife heard us talking about it, and he's like, oh, you should send me some mead. And I go, dude, once I get this batch done, I'll send it to you for sure.
Nice.
And then he goes, oh, my wife bought me a bottle of mead, and I'm like, which kind? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
it makes a huge
it makes
difference.
a huge difference, man. Because if you go for traditional, and he was like, this is really fucking sweet, and I go, yep, that's what you're gonna get, man. That's what you're gonna get.
That's honestly like the commercial mead side. That's like my biggest complaint with commercial mead.
Yeah.
Is that they tend to try to be too people pleasing.
Yeah.
Which it's like, it would be nice if they would play the range.
Yeah.
Because it is like that thing of like, your palate is something that can change.
Yeah.
Like years ago, I would have been all for, like, if I had gotten into brewing when I was 22, I probably would have been all about sweet meads.
Right.
But then, like, getting in my late 20s, I was like, no, I don't want super sweet anything.
Yeah,
like,
no thanks for the Southern Comfort. I'm good on that.
Yeah,
you know what
like,
I mean?
I don't want, like...
Yukon Jack?
Yeah. Yeah. I want drier finishes or, things like that. So it,
Now tannins in your mead. What do you use for your tannins when it comes to that stuff? What do you make the pucker with? What do you got?
So I either go with the fruit skins themselves. That's a great choice. But when you're,
you were kind of talking about that the other day. We were talking about that banana.
Yeah. A lot of tannin came.
Yeah.
That one had the apple banana wine had some crazy body to it.
Wow.
I also used a ridiculous amount of apples and bananas for the size batch. Like, knowing what I know now, I'm like, oh, I could have used easily half that and it would have been still really good.
Right.
Like, I used like 15 pounds of bananas,
Wow.
10
Holy
pounds
shit.
of apples.
Holy
Too
crap.
much. It was...
But I suppose you probably have it down now that you like how much to use when it comes to peel too, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the zest, you're getting the most of the flavor from that stuff.
Yep. But then, like, when you about tannins, like when I do like traditional meads, I like that's where it's the hardest to get tannin because honey doesn't have
Super
anything.
thin. Super thin.
Yeah, watery. Like when they're dry, they have like a water texture.
Yeah.
So I will occasionally use the like powdered wine tannin.
Okay.
It's a nice, just simple kind of, you can dose it.
I've never used it
mix
before.
It works well. I more recently have switched to just, I'm gonna put oak into it. Like, I'll use some like American medium or some French medium oak for a couple months.
I did, and some of my very first pineapple batches. I love pineapple. I love the way it the flavor of it, the sweetness of it. I love everything about pineapple. Mm-hmm. But without the oak in it, it was really thin. And I used a lot of black tea to try to like beef it up. Mm-hmm. I wanted to make sure, because I kind of tinkered with it before and it was a little thin, and I'm like, I got to do it. But when I added the oak to it, now when I aged it for a little while, and I just used little cubes of it, man, you know what I mean? And I put it in the whole bucket. And I was like, okay, secondary, bloop, threw some cubes in there. And the guy kept saying, be careful with the oak. It will overpower it. Now, when I took it out and I let it sit in the bottles, it smoothed off so nice right around like the 8-9 month. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, it was so good.
Oak is one of my favorites for tannin. Tea actually it does work really well,
Yeah.
but the big thing with it is that you have to make the tea so much stronger than you would ever want to drink it.
Right. Right.
Like
I've noticed that.
That's the big one that like
now you've probably tried all of it, bag wise and loose tea and all that other stuff. Which do you feel gives more punch to it?
I don't necessarily have too much of an opinion. I end up using a lot of loose leaf because the teas that I tend to buy for mead are loose leaf in their own, and I'm not gonna use the curling iron to seal tea bags. So I'll just either,
you don't got your straightener.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. It's but it's worked really well. I either I'll take if I'm doing a gallon batch, I'll boil and the whole gallon of water and throw a lot of the tea in and just let it seep, and then I'll coffee filter the tea out.
Gotcha.
Or more recently, I've been adding the tea into a little brew bag, sanitized brew bag pouch, and then throwing it in secondary.
Okay.
And just letting it sit for 3-4 days.
To me, seems like it might give it more of a punch to it.
Yeah, and the flavor of the tea actually carries over. Because the big one is
I might be doing that next.
If you use the tea in primary, the tea flavors are so subtle, and primary is just so fermentation is so violent.
It really is, dude.
So all of the nuance of that tea just goes out the airlock with the CO2.
Right.
So I've really switched to doing that, where it's really nice because suddenly you get that tea characteristic.
Now, when you do your meats, do you do your fruit with it in fermentation just to let it smash the shit out of those?
Both. I'll do. It really depends. If I always tell people when dealing with fruit, you have the two sides. You have the wine flavors where it ferments, and then you have the fresh flavors.
Yeah.
So when I design when I get an idea for a recipe, it's always, do I want it? Do I want the wine characteristic of this fruit, or do I want the fresh, or do I want both? Because if you ferment it dry, stabilize it, and then add the fruit in, you're just kind of back sweetening with the fruit,
right? And
that really does a lot.
I just saw City Steadings doing that with a fuzzy navel mead. They did.
Oh yeah.
They did the orange first, and they did the peels, the zest in primary, and then they did peach in the second. They actually stabilized it and then sweetened with peaches afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually use extract too, because they really wanted it to be super peachy.
Yeah, they wanted it to really punch through. That's where those extracts, those little 4-ounce bottles of flavoring, those really can come in handy when if you just want that flavor to hit.
Right.
Adding that will amplify.
I did a pineapple beer that changed in kegging. As the CO2 got to it, man, it changed the flavor of it by week. It was super sweet, then it slowly started to get a little bitter, and then it was had the sour to it, and then it just mellowed out right on the end. It was really weird, man.
Yeah.
It's such a strange thing, man. Now with beers, when did the transition start going from meads to beers, and how did that happen? And did you do the same thing with your beers? Did you start with kits, or as you were doing your mead stuff, you're like, I bet I can make some shit with this?
So it was pretty quick. It was pretty damn quick when I was like, I want to make beer. So for me, it was I knew going in that the wine and the mead, those were going to take some time.
Right.
And I think mead and beer play really well together, because you can have these mead projects that are long term, but then you can brew a beer and you can drink that beer in 4 or 5 weeks.
Right.
So that helped a lot.
Oh yeah.
When I got into beer, I started with just some simple extract kits. I didn't want to buy any more equipment.
Yeah.
Was the big one. I didn't want to buy a setup for brewing beer.
Yeah.
So I just
Now,
just using the like the 5-gallon kettle that I already had.
Okay. Now, like, what now? How big is your gear? How big is your supplies right at this particular point? Right as you go into, because you said you didn't want to buy any more gear at this point.
Yeah. So at that point,
I'm right here, dude. I know this point.
At the point that I started getting into beer, I had a 5-gallon kettle. I had like 2 fermentation buckets and 2 carboys. I had like a nice glass carboy and then just the
plastic
finished shitty plastic carboy. Oh, yeah. Picking that thing up, like having to move it and just being like, it just like shaking. And it's just like, I'm like, this is the most nerve-wracking thing. Like,
the only thing that would be kind of a trip is when it hit the ground. You know, you have the
yeah. So I got rid of that plastic carboy after the first batch because I was like, that was just scary lifting that from the floor to the counter because it's like
my shelf.
If I had grabbed it tighter than I like, if I'd grabbed it like the glass carboy, it would have been. I would have just like volcanoed it, you know,
fucking accordion that shit.
Yeah. So I didn't have a ton of equipment going on like early on. It was, you know, just simple siphons, hydrometers, and then a couple buckets.
Yeah.
I actually used a lot of the food safe bucket, the 5-gallon buckets
right off
from
the
like,
bat.
Yeah.
Nice. I wish I would have started with those right away.
Yeah. I think I really lucked out into that. I did have the guy who sold me the kit.
Yeah.
He really did a good job of like kind of like pushing me because I had in my head the equipment I was going in to buy.
Yeah.
And he was just
Did he
like,
just go, why?
Yeah, he was just like, just take my word for this. Like, I was also
he was real, dude. He was a real guy.
Yeah, he was just like, you use this, it's going to suck, and you're going to end up wanting to switch. And that, because I was just going to ferment, and I was looking for just like 2 glass carboys, and I was like, I'm going to ferment in these, and it's going to be great. And he was like, he asked me, and he's like, you're going to try to shove 30 pounds of fruit into this thing? You know, like, he's like,
good luck with
he
that.
asked me what I was making, and I told him, and he was just like, there's no way you're going to do that. Like, there's no way it's going to work.
Yeah.
So,
God, there was a guy that was doing brew videos for a while when I first started, and he was kind of like a crazy Italian guy, but he used a big fucking carboy all the time, and he would, you know, force down the cap. He'd be forcing down the cap, like slowly, just letting the air out of it, and just fucking shit hitting it. And he'd just look up and he goes, "My wife's gonna kill me." And that was something that I was terrified of, dude. I was like, if I get sticky mess everywhere, dude, my wife is gonna kill me.
Yeah, that's the like the volcano eruption videos and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that sucks. And I've had that happen.
Have you?
I've a couple times. Like
that's so crazy to me, dude. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's like if you have something just like, and it's so stupid how it can happen too, because it's like just a tiny little piece of fruit or something goes and clogs the airlock, and you don't know, you're not home or whatever, and all of a sudden it's just like the pressure just keeps building, and then finally the cap goes and it's, you know, you're cleaning line off the ceiling.
I watched a video where they said, you know, the release tube, you know, drop it off. Make sure you put a pan underneath just in case this you know, this is really active. We had, depending on what your temperatures are and which part of the, you know, like I'm going, that really factors in that much. And sure as shit, man, I put a big turkey pan under that fucker and I came up and I just smelt it in the air. I'm going, no. And my whole fucking airlock is just filled and shit all just right into the bin. I'm going, oh my God. Yeah. If I wouldn't have watched that one video that week, I would have made the biggest fucking mess ever.
Yeah. Dude. Well, and that's like, you know, when I started, I was definitely like trying to be like, I don't know why I had it in my head that I wanted to be like, I wanted to be a natural brewer. I don't want to use these additives and things. And I learned a lot of valuable lessons from that route.
Yeah.
But it was like, you know, the first time, like, so I was doing like pasteurization over chemical stabilization.
Sure.
And then it was like, I had a mead that I had back sweetened and pasteurized, and I bottled it, and we were having a game night, and I was pouring samples, and first 2 samples went great. I had a peach nectarine mead that I made, and it was supposed to be like pretty sweet, and we were standing in my buddy's kitchen, and I like used the back of my knife to pop the bottle, and it just went boom. And I was like, I caught my thumb over it immediately to stop it from like spraying everywhere, and I was like, whoop. And then I turned and poured it all and gave everybody samples, and then it wasn't until afterwards that I was like, this is not supposed to be champagne carbonated.
Right.
Like, this was...
So she was real bubbly,
Oh, yeah. I went home after that game night. I went home and opened every single one of those bottles because I'm like, these bottles are... Because it was still sweet. So I was like, every one of those bottles would have blown up.
Now, I saw on your table just the other day when I was there, you had a mead like kit. You had like and it said everything. There were a couple things in there that I actually have never used. And I'm assuming for clearing is what it would be, right? There's something that you what's your kit devised of?
So my kit it's mostly equipment, but then it has some stuff like pectic enzyme, which
that helps bring the more out of the fruit, right?
Yeah. So it
breaks
it extracts the fruit and breaks the cell walls.
Okay.
So you end up getting more color, you get more of the flavor and the juices out of them faster. It also helps with clarity down the road because like there's a thing called pectic haze.
Yep.
So it'll knock that right out. And then my kit has powdered tannin and acid blend, which I always tell people to use later. You don't need to throw that in right away.
Yeah.
But it's more like, I always say that stuff's like responsive. Like you taste it and you go, oh, this is kind of flat.
Yeah.
You can brighten it up by a little acid.
Gotcha.
Oh, this has the mouthfeel of water.
Gotcha. Add
a little powdered tannin in and you'll get some body to it.
Right. It helps them understand that a little bit better, I bet. If it's like instantaneous instead of like waiting on it and going, okay, you may have messed that whole batch up. You can't you know what I mean? Like to go back and redo that would be
you can't remove the acid and the tannin once it's there.
Yep.
So and I talk to a lot of like people who are just getting started and they're starting to try to write a recipe for themselves, but they're going off of like these old, old wine books or recipe books where they would just say like, oh, you're going to throw 5 pounds of fruit into this, but you should add a half tablespoon of powdered tannin and a half tablespoon of acid. And I'm like, why? Why would you do that? Like, you want to know what the fruit is going to bring to the brew before you start making those kind of adjustments. Because, like, if you make something too tannic, you're not going to want to drink it. No. It hurts.
Yeah, like, it's just going to it's going to make you fucking,
You make like the straight choke cherry mead.
Oh, dude, that's got to have some punch to it. Holy shit.
Yeah, I ended up making a lot of choke cherry back when I worked at Midwest because a guy came in and dropped off. We thought it was going to be like 10 pounds.
Yeah.
He brought like 50 pounds of like frozen choke cherries.
Yeah.
And then it was just sitting there, and the person who was going to work with it left. So I ended up being like, all right, I'm going to use all of this and make the guy his stuff.
Right.
And like just the straight choke cherry, I was like, that hurt to drink. Like it tasted fine, but like just the like feeling, because I also like made the mistake of just like taking the aronia berry and popping it in my mouth.
Oof.
And that's how I learned what tannin really is. Right. Is like when you eat something that is all tannin and you're just like, oh no, this is all I'm going to taste for today.
Yeah, right? You get you have something else and it hits a tooth and you're like, oh man, there it is again. No.
Yeah, the hang time on that was the rest of that day.
So what do you use for a clearing agent? What do you do? Time? Do you do? I mean, what's the best? I know you're like fermentation secondary. How long do you leave it in a secondary? Is this where you lose track of it and let it go for a little while longer?
So I think generally speaking, my secondary time is usually between 3 and 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Unless I have a reason, like if I'm oak aging it, like I have a barrel, I have an old tequila barrel. I have a mead that's been sitting in that for almost 2 years.
Damn.
Mostly out of laziness on that one, because moving a barrel really sucks.
Right.
But like if I'm oak aging something, I'll let it sit for longer to get more development and things like that. But I'm usually 3 to 6 months to open the fermenter back up. Yeah. And I also like bottle aging.
Yeah.
So I'll like, once it's bottled, I'll tuck that case aside and then break it out when I'm, when the time comes.
Dude, I did like 2.5 cases. And I was just like, oh, this is fucking awesome. And I let it sit for like a year. And then I popped it open and I was like, wow, this one's good. This one sucked. I did like a chai. I did a chai one that was really weird. And the flavor was really funky, man. It didn't even really, the cinnamon didn't come through as well as I thought it would either. And so that one kind of, I just kind of pushed that one aside. I did like damn, what the hell was it called? It's like an RPG game that just happened. Not Oblivion, but the other one.
Skyrim?
Skyrim
okay,
mead.
Yeah.
I did a Skyrim mead. There's like three or four of them.
Yep. In like the Blackbriar.
Yeah. I did. I did one of those, and that one turned out really well. I think it's juniper and hibiscus, I think.
Oh, nice.
And that one turned out really good. I like that one a lot.
That sounds like it would be a good mix.
It was really good.
I think one thing I've always kind of looked at with like part of the reason why I like the like 6 month time frame is because like I do find that sometimes there's flavors and stuff where it's like, I've bottled something that you'd expect would take a year, and it's like 6 months in, and I'm like, no, I think I want to start drinking these bottles now. Right. Like where it's at now is perfect.
So are you checking them periodically then? You're going back and checking them?
Because like once it's bottled, I kind of do like, I'll try to open one every like couple months, every month or two, just to get familiar with how it's aging. Because I've had stuff where like I've really, really liked it, and then it hit like the 14-month marker and I popped a bottle of it and I was like, this is going in a direction I don't care for.
Right.
But then I pop another bottle a couple days later, and it's like it's unified.
Right.
So it's like,
Yeah, that is definitely a thing. I've been there. I so many things I'm hitting on that you're talking about, man. Like the gear thing, Like I bought a bunch of things that I knew I wasn't going to use it after I used it one time. I was like, man, I wasted money on that. Chucked it away or tried to give it to somebody. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. That's the other thing is there's a lot of like I am definitely a bit on the lower tech side.
Yeah.
I've bought expensive home brewing equipment and I've gotten rid of most of my expensive.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Other than like my all-in-one brew system.
Yeah.
Like
what kind of systems have you had? What kind of things have you used? You said basically the 5-gallon before, like that's the first thing, right?
That was the first setup that I used just for making like the extract kits.
Yeah.
And then I got I started doing like all in or brew in a bag in like a single like 14-gallon kettle on a propane burner.
Yeah.
And then I got an Anvil Foundry, which is an all-in-one brew house, 10.5-gallon system.
Damn.
And then when I was opening the store, I had initially thought, I was like, okay, I'll bring my Anvil Foundry from home to the store and I'll use that for demos at the store. And then I was talking to a buddy and he's like, honestly, you should buy something specific for the store so you have your stuff at home. Like you're setting up a business where part of your business is demonstration.
Yeah.
So I ended up buying the Clawhammer Supply
nice.
120 system.
How do you like that?
I like it a lot. There's some things that I wish, I like I like kind of how the engineering of the system works and stuff.
Yeah.
And so there's things that I would change on it, but like all in all, I really like it.
Yeah.
Especially compared to like I've brewed with friends who have like very high end systems, like some of the like $3,000 systems, and I didn't care for brewing on some of like the very expensive stuff. Like I don't like the Grainfather system.
Really? I've seen that. I've checked it out. I've checked out. I almost bought a claw hammer system like right away. I saw it and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And then I started looking at the price and I was like, I don't want to go that far. I just started. Like, why would I do that? Now I think I would appreciate it more.
Yeah, and I really like their like mentality,
Yeah.
because like part of the thing that I hate, like the Grainfather, one of the biggest things I don't like about it is that
that's the main cylinder one, right? It's just straight up and down. It's like,
and all of the components are crammed into the bottom.
Right.
So like when the pump goes out and you have to buy the new pump from the manufacturer, because you can't just go to a store and buy one.
Right.
It's so hard to get your hand into the space to actually change the pump.
There was Brewology, I think the dude's name is.
Brewlosophy?
That's it. That's the dude. Now, he talked about that, and he said he fucked his up by getting that front control plate wet.
Yep.
Like he said his went out right away. Fucked it all up and had to buy another one or something.
So it's like the claw hammer guys and the Anvil Foundry has the same mentality where it's like exterior pump.
Yeah.
So like when your pump goes out, like they sell replacement ones, but like you can get a hot liquid pump,
right?
Kind of any hardware store, and
right?
It's replaceable, you know. So I like that kind of modular ability to.
So like, how does that claw hammer work? I mean, is it just fucking ready to rip? Like you just go and go and go and that's it? I mean, it looks super easy to mess with.
Yeah, it is really nice. I think it's really nice because it's really only like 2 real buttons and then your temp up and down.
Yep.
So it's like you hit the power, you set the heat.
And it just has like a little heating element that's right in the bottom of it or something, right?
Yeah.
And you put everything in like the basket.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah,
dude.
so the basket just drops in, you mash. You pull the grain. You pull the grain out.
You got a fucking pulley system.
Yep, it comes.
Nice.
It comes with one.
Really?
Yeah, it comes with a pulley system for you to set up.
Yeah.
So like, and that's as a person who didn't have a pulley system for a long time. The first time I brewed on the claw hammer and used the pulley system, I was like, what have I been doing? Like. I've just been like muscling 12 pounds of soaking grain out of 7 gallons of water. It's like, how dumb
burning
am I?
your fucking stomach and your everything else.
Yeah, because it's always spills somewhat on you. And this is just like you pull a cord and it starts lifting and you're like, oh.
You just got to stick the little things in there and set it back down on it and let it go?
Yeah. Works like a charm.
Like I said, dude, I've watched so many of their videos, man.
Mm-hmm.
The one dude passed away recently, dude. I saw that. That sucks, man. That dude was cool as shit.
Yeah.
He'd be somebody I'd love to hang with. That dude was cool, man.
Yeah.
He was way cool. I can't even remember his name now, dude. Yeah, he was awesome,
Russ?
man. Ross. That's what it was.
Yes.
Ross. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
That dude was cool as shit, man. Into metal and, being silly and drinking beers and bicycling, dude.
Well, and I always I like the Claw Hammer, like their brewing channel. I like the aspect that they just have fun.
Yeah.
And that's really a big aspect of home brewing. Like I deal with all sorts of home brewers, and it's like the ones who are here having fun and experimenting and trying things have a lot better time than some of the guys who take it very serious.
Oh, I bet. I bet, man. I bet.
You know, some people get real intense about it, and it's like, I threw donuts in a mead, and it didn't go well.
Dude, when they did that fucking, I think it was like a s'more beer or something. They did something with a bunch of marshmallows, and I know they've done it a couple times where he's just charring it with a torch, man. That made me want to go. That marshmallow thing sounds pretty damn good. Have you messed with any marshmallows?
In the last year, I have
really?
Actually.
How did it turn out?
I did so I made a stout for a buddy's birthday last year.
Yeah.
And he had him and his fiance asked for a couple like ingredients.
Yeah.
And so they were like, they wanted marshmallows, graham cracker, and pumpkin.
Ooh. Now that's a tricky one.
It was very weird. I put the marshmallows.
Pumpkin's
and the pumpkin.
pretty forgiving though, right? Isn't it?
It was very, yeah.
Now did
really
you use
turned out well.
raw pumpkin?
No. I used the canned pumpkin puree because I've done pumpkin a few times prior in like mead making, and like if you use fresh pumpkin, it's a real pain because
messy as fuck. I bet.
Yeah, but you have to also you want to peel the like exterior layer of the skin off because it's hard to get that clean.
Yeah.
And then you got to roast it. And it's a whole thing. So I was
smokes,
like,
dude. So you just got a can of the stuff.
I got like 5 cans of the pie filling, like pumpkin puree, and dumped those in.
How did that? That had to have tasted amazing, dude.
It was really good.
Graham cracker. How did you get the graham cracker to work?
I dry hopped it on day 3 with a sleeve of graham crackers.
That was it?
Yeah.
No shit.
I put a sleeve of graham crackers, crushed it up a little bit in like a hop bag. And then
because it would have been a mess if you would just let it go.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I was like, I didn't want. Also, like, fermentation's pretty gross looking, and like
soggy soggy graham crackers.
Yeah,
dude.
For how good that beer turned out, like how good that stout turned out, that was the most disgusting
looking and
bucket. Like when the beer was out and you just have like the yeast rub and then like pumpkin and like weird marshmallows that have swollen and it was like, I was like, this is absolutely vile.
It looks like somebody's baby just dropped a diaper in that bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I hadn't tasted it or anything. It just went straight into the keg and I was like carving it. And I was like, as I was cleaning it, I was like, this is not giving me confidence. Like, just because I was like, it looks so gross.
But a stout will, man, if you get those right, man, them stouts are so damn good. Oh, man.
And I was smart. I used an existing stout recipe that I had.
Gotcha.
So, like, I knew the base stout was good.
Right.
I just didn't know what the marshmallows, graham cracker, and pumpkin was going to do to it.
Man, that would be a sketchy situation right there, man.
Yeah.
We are at the hour mark. Let's do another tune. We'll pump the shop. Folks, do me a favor. Check out Minnesota Homebrew at you can drop them a line if you want to at 763-209-3973, 22043 Industrial Boulevard. Rogers, Minnesota, Suite 2. You can drop them an email too, mn.homebrew@gmail.com. If you have any questions for Dylan, if you're thinking about a recipe or anything like that, stop by. The dude knows a lot of stuff, man. As you can tell, he's got a ton of experience on all kinds of stuff. If you're just getting started, this place is the spot. Like I said, I was there just the other day. I looked on the counter. He had kits and things and had all descriptions of everything. He's got all the grains up on the counter. He's got a giant cooler full of hops. He's got tons and tons and tons of stuff over there. I've been over there a billion times and I'll keep going. It's a sweet spot. It's really close to my house. I love it. Dude, when I ran out of CO2 on Sunday the other day, I'm like, God damn it. And she goes, run over to the beer store. I go, I don't think it's open. It's like 2. And I look, I go, shit, he's open for 2 more hours. I'm like, well, you know what? I got to run over there anyway on Monday. I want to talk to him about the podcast and whatnot. I'm like, screw it. I'll just wait one more day. And I was hoping, don't go bad. Dude, when you told me, yeah, dude, as long as it's cold and you get it, I was stoked. I was like, yes, I'm going to save it. Because it was the crush stuff you told me about.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll get into that because he actually did recommend a really good hop. And I want to give a little feedback on that one. Song 2, False Hour by Vin off of their Ethereal Horizons album. Check them out. Look them up on all streaming platforms. We're going to take a listen, folks, and then we'll be back to talk more stuff about some brewing and stuff like that. Stick around, folks. We'll be back. Oh, what's happening? Oh shit! You got too many cameras there. Look at that. That's how it works here on the fancy show here. Too many bells and whistles, man. I had an issue there. There must have been something that happened in transfer between getting it from one computer to the next. I couldn't have just emailed it. You know what I'm saying? It just would have been there. Instead, you got a zip drive and one more thing to fail. Then I go over to the other computer. I turn it on. It takes forever. Then I get it. And then, So I apologize. That was actually a different song. Now I'm not going to be able to find out what it is. I need to write that last song down. Erasure, I believe is what it was called. Erasure.
Yeah.
From, let me see, Ethereal. Ephemeral Horizons by Vin. I appreciate you guys sending over something. We're going to try to get that other one to work here at some point. It's going to take a second to tinker with, but thanks, guys, for sending it over. I really enjoy the music. You guys are a good band. Hopefully, dude, if you guys want to get on the show and chat and talk about the band, I would love to have you come on and talk about the band and all that other good stuff. Actually, let's take a look at some of the flyers they got. They've got... Now, this is the thing, Dylan and I was asking Dylan about this, and I'm not sure, and I'm sure that they could probably answer this, but this first one is, and I found a way, Garden Glow, and Daisy Cutter, Saturday, that's tomorrow, actually, May 16th, at the White Squirrel in St. Paul. Music at 9 p.m. It doesn't have more information than that on there right now, but if you look it up at the White Squirrel, I'm sure they'll have more details for you. It does not have Vin on there because I believe this is probably one of those guys' side projects. That's what I was thinking.
There's a good chance that's the case.
Which is all good, man. I love sharing music and getting people onto new stuff. So check out the show tomorrow night if you got a chance at the White Squirrel. That's again, and I found a way, Garden Glow and Daisy Cutter. Then I got one on the 22nd. This one does have Vin on it. Dragged Out to Sea and Only Time. Friday the 22nd, which is next weekend, which is what, Memorial Weekend. I can't believe that.
Oh, jeez, it is, isn't
insane, dude. Just like, man, and tomorrow's going to be like 90 degrees. It's so crazy, man. This state has been bonkers. Again, 522, Vin Dragged Out to Sea, Only Time. It is what does it say? 6:30 doors, 7 p.m. show, $10 all ages. The Tree Dome Records in Rochester, it looks like, on Broadway there. Let's close these two because there's two more after that. We got the 20th, again with Self-Evident Loss Leader, Or Does It Explode? And I Found a Way. June 20th, Zora Darling, which is right downtown Minneapolis. $10 in advance, 15th day of the show, 7:30 p.m. doors, 21 plus. Again, that's at Zora Darling. And this one is the fancy one that I think Justin Boney may have had a hand in this pretty fucking flyer. God, this is a beautiful flyer. Underground Music Venue, Friday, June 26th. Doors are at 7:30. Music is at 8 p.m., 21 plus, 15 in advance, 20 at the door. Phase Meridian, fantastic band, very technical. Had a chance to see them. I think I booked them one show early on. Very technical, fantastic band. Yasilik is a very good band. Vin, they all fit in this great category, man. They're really technical, great bands. I'm super stoked. If you guys can get out to see these fantastic shows, please do that. I'll go again through these real quick. You go the 16th there and the 22nd, which is next Friday. And then we'll go to the 20th of June and then the 26th of June. So make sure you get out to the shows and check those out. Again, I appreciate Vin for sending some tracks over. Very cool of them to do that. I know it's now I told Dylan before the show, I think I'm going to institute the Pay It Forward Act on here, where I'll have the bands that I'm going to have come on here to, play their tunes, obviously, and promote their stuff, but play a tune or like promote one of their buddy shows, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Bring a song from another
band.
Oh
yeah, man. Why not? Yeah. It's always cool to show love to your homies too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, like I was really happy to be able to come on and bring their music.
Oh yeah, man.
I'm a big fan of theirs and
very cool stuff. Yeah. That first tune again, that first one was called Blight. And that one in the middle there, man, that little giddy up piece there, I was like wiggling. I'm like, damn, this I almost had the stank face on, dude. I wanted to ask you, what are some of your favorite combos of mead that through the times of making mead that have really stuck out to you?
So a few like the one that's most popular with like a lot of my friends is like a raspberry pomegranate with allspice and clove.
Nice.
That one is, I have friends actively request I bring that.
That's got to be one of those you got to tinker to get it right, perfect, right?
Yeah.
Because that allspice can really get after it.
I've started to, well, you've seen them at my shop. I have the extracts and tinctures sitting on top of the fridge.
Yep.
I've switched to using extracts and tinctures for spices because it is very difficult to get spices to extract the way you want.
Right.
And if you're trying to make it repeatable, it's damn near impossible.
Well, and I suppose if you're able to harness the punch of it and to take it back or boost it up, I suppose it's pretty.
Yeah, because I can pretty much be like, oh, it's 10 drops of this cinnamon extract into something.
Yeah,
and then I do that across the board. It stays the same.
Damn, dude, that's a trick, man. You've gotta know those tricks, because if you don't, I'm gonna make a little noise here, folks. I want to try to get that song that we missed on here, so I'm gonna get a little noisy in there and try to keep the conversation going without. Of course, there's a problem with the zip drive. Why wouldn't there be? What a pile of junk! It's a typical thing, dude. Wow.
Which underground venue was that Vin concert at?
It's the underground. What is it? Music venue is what it's called. So it's not the underground at the Spring Street. That's a different one.
Okay.
So there is two, and that's why it's confusing. Which is, I don't know why you would name your club after Club Underground's been there for.
Well, because the other one's not underground.
Yeah.
It's on the main floor.
Right.
So I actually have a funny story about the band Vin.
I love that you pointed that out.
Yeah. Well, I have a funny story about Vin from a few years ago. So my buddies and I were going to a Vin concert.
Yeah.
And all we really knew is it was at something underground.
Yeah.
So we show up, and luckily, like, the friends who I drove with, we got there. Another buddy of ours, he pulls into the parking lot a couple minutes later. We go downstairs, we pay tickets, we have a couple drinks at this place, and it wasn't until like two bands had played where I was like, it's really fucked that Gordy and them aren't here. And then less than 2 minutes later, my phone's ringing, and I'm like,
"Where are you dudes?"
Yeah, I see his face pop up on my phone, and I'm like, oh shit, we're definitely at the wrong venue.
That's hilarious.
So then we were like, well, we gotta go. Had to hightail it down the road.
Whoever show that was, thanks for putting on a
really good cover band. And it also should have dawned on me that like Vin was headlining the show.
Right.
And there was like a cover band playing like Neil Young songs. Should have been a little bit of a flag that we weren't at the right
Sweet
show.
Caroline. Yeah,
it was one of those things where we're like, well, that's good to know.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Now I want to get back to that claw hammer that you were talking about, man, because that thing looks like so much fun to brew on. How many brews have you done on that thing so far? How long have you had it?
So I've had it for a little over a year now.
Okay.
I bought it about 2 months before the store opened, and I did a couple batches just to get the feel for it.
Yeah.
So I think I've probably done like 10 or 15 batches on it by now.
Okay.
I really like it. And any of the issues any of the problems that I have are just me being a nitpicky asshole.
Right.
Like when I work on.
But you're a tinkerer. You like that type of stuff. So you're probably thinking what would be a good way to streamline it for your processes and things that you want to do.
Yeah. And it's also like, it's like, oh, the basket's hard to clean. Now brewing is half of its cleaning.
Right.
you know, and it all sucks, you know. So it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you got to have access to a big hose, don't you, to just let it rip?
Yeah,
you couldn't just put that in your sink and let it rip. You know what I mean? It'd be everywhere.
No. Yeah. That's one of those things where I'm like, I want to get like a hazmat suit,
right?
So that I can just hop into, zip it up, and then just
let her rip, man. That's crazy. What are some of your favorite yeast strains that you like to use, man? Like, for people that don't know the process, like beer is really fucking simple when it comes to a point.
Well, brewing in general is far more simple than people like. It can be as complicated as you want it to be, but like, you can make really high quality stuff with simple, simple processes.
Yeah.
And, you know, like it doesn't need to be, but I do think like yeast is probably one of the biggest factors. And a lot of people just get this thing of like yeast. It's not. And it's like, you don't realize that there's hundreds and hundreds of varieties of yeast. And then on top of it, that like, it wasn't until I was brewing that I was aware that like, oh, yeast is kind of everywhere.
Right.
Like it's just a thing. It's on our skin. It's on the tables. Yeah. It's on, you know, the cans.
Right.
Like I never really thought about that until I was like brewing, and I was like, oh, like yeast is everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it all does different stuff.
Yeah. I know you and I were talking about, what is it? SO5 and and 06
or 4 and 5.
Yeah, 4 and 5. That's it, 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that one day. You were saying that a customer of yours was telling you that he didn't taste the difference. They were interchangeable for him, and he didn't. And you and I both, you like looked at me and I looked at him. I was like, they're fucking completely different.
Yeah.
Like,
well, one's like a West Coast American, and one is like London Ale.
Right.
It's like they're very different.
Right.
And like it's weird. Like yeast have different profiles, and like
what do they call esters?
Esters,
different esters, right?
Yeah, and it's crazy because like I like to do experiments and stuff. So I've done things where like I brew like a smash beer, a single malt, single hop beer, and then brewed 5 gallons of it, separated it into 1 gallons batches, and then I pitched different yeasts into it just to be able to be like, what is the difference between like an American Chico strain?
See,
like
dude,
SO5?
I'd be opening my own brew store if I had that kind of thought process, dude, honestly, because that would be one of the things that I would be like, oh shit, I can go all over the place with this. Yeah. Dude, breaking it down into 1 guy. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because that's the thing is like, I know I've had friends who wanted to do like experiments, but then they're like, you know, they'll experiment and they're like, all right, so I'm going to brew this 5-gallon batch. And then in a couple of weeks, I'm going to brew this 5-gallon batch with these variations. And it's like, all right, some of the things you can brew, like, you know, like one thing I do with mead is like, if I want to experiment with post flavoring after fermentation, I'll ferment a 5-gallon batch of mead and then divvy it up into 5 1-gallon fermenters to adjust. And then it's like, 1 fermentation creates 5 brews, you know, and it's
now for folks that have never done this or even really thought about this stuff. I mean, basic mead stuff is water, honey of some sort, or sugar, some sort of sweetener, right? That will ferment, right?
Honey in particular
is that would be mead. That would,
because otherwise like
be like wine, right?
Because there's like fruit wines or farm wines, which is just like a couple pounds of fruit and then like white sugar or brown sugar,
right?
Which is also like, if anyone's ever interested in getting into mead, but they don't want to, like, if you want to learn how to like how fruit ferments, fruit wines where you're using white sugar is a great route, because white sugar's way cheaper.
Yeah.
Way cheaper than honey.
Way
so it's
cheaper.
like, I actually have recipes that are now like some of my meads that I submit to competitions that started because I added blackberry and kiwi to 3 pounds of sugar and water.
How did that together?
It was really good.
Really?
Yeah. And that's actually one thing is I actually, like, when I started making those, I actually would just be like asking like coworkers. I'd be like, "What are your 2 favorite fruits?" And then they'd tell me like the raspberry pomegranate.
That sounds really good, man. When you told me the other day, I was like, "Damn, that sounds really good." I told my wife about that one.
That recipe came from I was working at a hardware store. I was in like the deliveries order fulfillment department.
Yeah.
And there were a couple girls who worked in there who were like, they were 20 and they all had birthdays in the same like week.
Right.
And so it was their 21st birthday. It was a few months before that. And I was like, we were going to do like, our department was going to do a little get together for their 21st.
Yeah.
And I made the comment, I was like, I asked one of them, I was like, what are your 2 favorite fruits? And she said raspberry and pomegranate. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make I'm going to make a wine for your birthday. Like, as just like a little 21st birthday present, I'm going to give you like 8 bottles of raspberry pomegranate wine.
Yeah.
And that's how that, because that one turned out great.
Yeah.
And then I started experimenting with the spices after that. But, it's just, that's how blackberry kiwi came up, was that I had a coworker who.
That's awesome, dude.
She suggested that, and I was like, I'll do it. Why not?
Was it successful the first time?
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah.
Love it.
They got better as I've rebrewed them and like with the experience, but like for first runs, I really thought they worked.
That's awesome, dude. This is one of my favorite things ever, is when someone pops in the chat and Matt Demel says, "Congrats on the success, Dylan. Tell the
what up, Matt?
John Stanley cowboy hat story the world deserves to hear." That's what he says. You almost got a spit take out of him, Matt. You almost got a spit take out of him, so that might be a good story. What do we got for the cowboy hat story?
Well, I had a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
That we had. This is probably 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
We had a little get together. I was still living with my parents, and they were like out of town.
Yeah.
So it's just having some friends over, and we were drinking and smoking a bit, and someone had ordered some pizzas, and
oh Jesus, I know where this is going.
Our buddy John decided to. He was going, as the pizza delivery driver was showing up, he decided to strip naked.
Oh Jesus!
And he was holding the cowboy hat in front of his groin, and then after the guy left, he just
put the hat on.
That was it. On and walked away.
That's hilarious, dude. Thank you, Matt, for that story. That's fantastic. I love shit like that. Last week, I had my friend's lady pop in, and she pulled out 2 of the most fantastic stories. One about Marilyn Manson, and the other one, I can't remember what it was, is a touring story of some sort. But he's like, "Who the hell asked those questions?" He's like, "Only a couple people would." I'm like, "It was your wife, dude." But it was cool that she jumped on just to try to get some stories out of him. Now, like for yeast, are there you just like to experiment? Are there specific things depending on what you're brewing that you like to use for yeasts? Are there go-to ones that you like?
Yeah, there are. So I've started to get to the point where I actually kind of like, when I'm writing recipes, like I'll come up with like the base ingredients and I'll decide what yeast is going to complement those.
Right.
In mead making, it's oftentimes like my favorites are D47, 71B, and QA23.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all 3 of those, depending upon, like if I'm doing something that has a little bit more tropical profile, D47 plays so well with tropical notes because that's what it's known for.
Okay.
It has this kind of like pineapple-y characteristic in its esters. Whereas like 71B works a lot better with like berries and stuff like that. With beer, it's really up to the style that I'm brewing. I try to be pretty specific. Like if I'm brewing a Belgian, I'm going to use one of the Belgian Abbey ales or something like that. Like I'll be brewing an Oktoberfest tomorrow,
You were talking about that. Is that the one that kind of got shifted in the mix a little bit?
Yeah, that's the one that I was supposed to brew last week. And then I totally spaced that Saturday was Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, I walked into the store and opened, and I was like, I made a comment to a customer about it being Friday.
Yeah.
And he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And then it was like 20 minutes later, I like looked at my phone and I was like, oh shit, it's Saturday. I'm supposed to be okay. Well, I guess I'll be doing that next week.
Whoops.
Yeah. Just a full
so
day.
So
behind.
do you brew at the shop, or do you do a lot of stuff at home still?
I haven't done as much at home. I do most of my brewing now at the store because I can do it as demonstrations. So it's like I can have the claw hammer just like out on the floor going, and I can help customers. And it's kind of a fun thing on like the Saturdays that I'm doing it when someone comes in, because they'll come in, they'll smell the malt and the hops in the room.
Yeah.
You know, they'll be like, oh, what you making? You know.
Yeah.
I think it also helps for like when people who are like first time coming in and they come in when I happen to be brewing, it gives them a little bit of a confidence of like that I do this.
So I want to add this to your repertoire as well, man. That the other spot that's close to us, and I won't say the name because I don't want to shit anybody. One of the first things that I asked, because they had a lot of kegerator stuff there, they had a lot of bigger items there that was like things that I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the main questions I asked them. Do you guys do any demonstrations? Do you have anything, you know, do you experiment with things? Do you show people how it's done? Because there's a lot of times in the process that it's just little things that help the process so much smoother. You know what I'm saying? And when you're starting out and you're watching videos, I can watch a million videos, man. And it just, if something pops up, you can't just stop and go, hey man, what did you do there? Why does this work for you? Why do you do it this way? Why do you choose to, you know, I don't know, keep temperatures at this, you know, or why do you do it for a stretch? You know, how long do you keep things boiling? How long, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When do you hop? When do you like to hop? In which styles do you hop? You know, that type of things like that.
Yeah.
That was one of those things. And he was like, well, we thought about adding it. And I was like, man, you got to have that. If your doors are open, you should have, you know, courses or offer it in some way. Somebody's going to want to do it. Like,
well, and I did my first demonstration at the store 2 weeks. It was the second Saturday I was open.
Yeah.
Like, that was the first brew day that I did. And I've tried to shoot for like once or twice a month on Saturdays. At open at 10 a.m. I'll be mashing in between 10 and 11.
Damn, dude.
You know, it finishes when it finishes. You know, that like it's how a brew day works. It's done when it's done.
Right.
But yeah, that was like an important thing to me because that was something I did. Like,
dude, you know what, man? You and I should like make a flyer for it. You know what I mean, dude? I'll share it around a whole bunch because Dude, I'm always sharing what I'm brewing all the time. People ask me shit all the time, and it's like I want to tell them to go to play. You know what I mean? Like I don't have the answers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't tell them exactly. I can only tell them my process. Somebody who's been doing it a bit longer than I have. Like how long like total have you been brewing?
So it's been, I want to say it's 5 years is when I really started like getting into it. That's when I made like the Banapple wine. That's when I really kind of like started sinking some money into getting like equipment.
Yeah. That claw hammer ain't cheap. I know that.
Yeah, no, that one. The nice thing is that Anvil Foundry is it's like $600 after tax.
Right.
So it's really not that bad in the grand scheme, and it's a really good system.
Yeah.
Like it's a solid system. It's actually kind of really awesome because like if you have 240, if you have access to 240 outlet, the system itself just needs a wire swap.
Wow.
And then you flip a switch and
Bing
it's
bong.
Converted over.
Where with the claw hammer you have to get the whole
You'd have to get
system,
a new
right?
I would have to get a new element.
Right.
And then like I think even like the new control panel.
Different box, right? Yeah, different control box. Yeah.
But I find the 120 is actually, it works just fine. You just got to wrap it.
Does it get up to temp quick?
I mean, fairly, like, it's so, like, I had a lot of experience with, like, propane.
Yeah.
And, like, so compared to propane, no.
Not a chance.
It's pretty,
Right.
but, like, it's not like, if I'm at, like, getting up to from, like, cold water to, like, 152 or something.
Right. Yeah.
That might take 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Sure. That ain't
Not a
shit.
big deal. Getting up from, like, 152 to the boil.
Yeah.
Maybe another 40, 45 minutes. Not a big deal, especially in my circumstance where, like, I'm also helping customers and stuff, where it's like, I think I can actually kind of just...
ballparking. You're right in the ballpark, yeah.
Like, as long as I pay attention to when my phone dings on the timer and I can just be like, 1 second, I got to throw hops into this.
Right. Yeah.
But then I've also been, like, filming the brew days, so I'll be doing, like, tutorial videos and stuff like that.
That's the way to do it, man. Yeah, that's very cool, man. You got to get all of those in there, man, because it's so cool. And it's, you know what I mean? Once you put everything together, you know, especially there's so many different styles of brewing that I have not even tried to yet.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anybody else that I can pick their brain and go like, dude, what does this do here? And like, how can I achieve this? You know, like temps, fermenting temps, you know, I'm right around 70 through the whole winter is where I was at, the whole winter. Now I just started doing kombucha and that's got to be fucking higher.
Yep.
So I'm like, fuck you, man. How are you not even going to get me drunk? And I got to do special shit for you, man. You know what I mean? It's like, it's goofy like that, but you know.
Yeah. Temperature is one of the weirdest things in brewing.
Yeah.
Like, and I do some temperature control, but like for the most part, I ferment between like 68 and 72.
Yep. That's my ballpark right there.
With the exception of like, I do have like a chest freezer with a temp control, so I can do like, I can lager at 52 degrees and then raise it to 68 and then drop it. Like I do that stuff for some styles.
I've never done any of that, man. That sounds like it's so much more fun, man. Like
it's just weird because it's one of those things where it's like, it's weird when you have to remember to like change the thermostat on a freezer, like where it's just like I'd like be walking and being like, oh shit, I gotta go turn the thermostat up 4 degrees.
Yeah.
And then like
I've got a keg I got to clean. It's been there all week. I've been like, I shit it out on Saturday. I'm like, oh, I'm ready for this red. I'm like, damn it. All right, I got to clean this out and get ready for another batch. That's, you know, when I ran into you Monday, that was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm buying another batch for the other keg. So, but yeah, man, it's now. How about your cycles? Like, do you sound like you have a lot of things going on all the time. So you don't sound like you're missing out any. If you want to drink, you can find something to drink in the house.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I have. I definitely like. I'm a bit of a planner now with brewing.
Yeah.
Like I know I'll be brewing a fest beer tomorrow.
Right.
In 2 weeks I'll be brewing a porter. Oh, actually, I have to brew a beer next week for a party in June. Cutting it close on that one.
Now,
but it's only like a 3.5% beer that I'm brewing, so it should be a quick and easy brew day.
You were on the next level of where I feel like I'm going to be moving to your level at some point, because the other day when we were talking, you came out with some smoked.
Oh yeah, the Applewood smoked malt.
You're like, here, dude, check this out. And I smelt it. I told my wife about that one. I go, honey, he came out with this bag and it smelled so fucking good. And she's like, that does sound really good. And I'm like, oh, I can just imagine how that would taste, you know? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about it. And I'm just like, but that would be the thing. You said you had, multiple recipes going at, you said up to like 6 at a time or more. You're interchanging. You're like you said, I'm brewing something tomorrow that I was supposed to do last week, which to me is insane.
Yeah. And I like to do that just because it's like, I like to tinker with recipes and stuff. So if I plan out far enough ahead, it's one of those things where like, I'm right now, like early before I came here when I was at the store, I was tinkering with a barley wine recipe that I'm going to brew sometime in August.
Nice.
Like I'm not even close to that, but I am just like kind of looking at other recipes and being like, am I putting too much of this in? Am I, or like I haven't decided on the yeast.
Right.
I should probably start thinking about that at some point.
Right. So okay, so we went through the mead, we went through some of the brewing stuff, and you kind of what you're doing, trying to do some brews at as demonstrations at the shop. How did Minnesota Homebrew come to be? Like, how did you decide I'm going to get into this as a shop? Like, this is a business now.
So I've worked a lot of odd jobs, but I've worked predominantly in retail. Like I worked at a record store when I was younger. I worked for a big orange hardware store for years. Worked at a few warehouses and packing companies and stuff like that. But the first time I actually like felt like I enjoyed going to work was when I started working at Midwest.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoyed it. I liked talking. I mean, there was the grow section, which at the time I knew nothing about. So like those customers, I was always kind of like, I just smoked the stuff. Because I was like, I've never even tried.
Right.
I know it grows easy, or it's also like, growing can be as easy or as complicated as, you want it to be. And brewing
you'd be really good. You'd be really good at it, dude.
I've done a few, and I've had good luck.
Yep.
I do enjoy it.
Yep. That's just one of those things, man. I had to do it. I had to try it. Same with mushrooms too. I was like, I don't even need to take that many mushrooms. And I was like, but I really, really want to. And eventually I did take a lot of mushrooms. And it was really fun. And it wasn't like overdoing it. It was, the process was just amazing. It was cool
it's so interesting too.
Dude, when you're sipping on your own juice, man, and you're sitting there and you're making another one for the next, to share with people, I wanted to kind of to reverse a little bit, because we talked about sharing with people, and I was deathly afraid to share my beers with people and my meads. And then I was hanging out with a friend, and he was about to move up north, and he was selling his place, and he had this big party, and there was a ton of beer drinkers, guys that I knew liked different types of beer, not just piss water, you know what I'm saying? With no flavor, that is just, dead as dead can be, right? So I brought 2 growlers, 2 different style beers, and then I brought like 6 bottles of mead, and I set it all out there, and I was just like, you want to try this? And I had one guy came up, and he was just like, all right, man, my dad brewed beer for years, and he's like, I tasted so many horrible beers. And he's like, I'll be able to tell you whether this is good or bad. And I said, okay, man, I want to hear what you have to say, what you think, poured a little mead. He's like, this is really good. I don't have any complaints about that, but I don't think he was really a mead drinker,
Yeah.
Then when it got to the beer, he gave me some really good, good feedback. And he was like, you nailed it pretty good. I did a chocolate, was like a vanilla. I made my own vanilla extract, and I did I did a stout with vanilla, but I did my own extract. It was really fucking good. It turned out really well.
Making your own extract it's so amazing. Like you can, I always tell people, like, it's when you've made your own and let like your own extract age.
Yeah.
You really can't buy
No,
that. Like,
no,
unless it's some like artisan shop,
right.
like
It's
you're not gonna
so
get that
different, man. And I just stumbled on it, you know what I mean, when it came to vanilla. And then I bought really good vanilla beans, and I had to wrap them all up, you know what I mean? And I was slicing them down and, putting them in the vodka, and like, it was real nice. I liked it. And the beer was fantastic. But just sharing it was cool. And I got great feedback, but I was like that with music too, man. I didn't, I played it out and I showed it to people all the time. But when you put it under a microscope, I was always like, now this is what it was written about. This is what, and I'm giving the storylines to it all. You know what I mean? But that's, now I wanted to, so how did it all come to be? You're like, you got to the point you're doing the retail stuff. You're like,
so I really enjoyed working at Midwest. I pretty quickly became like a full-time employee. Like I was supposed to just be like 2 or 3 days a week. And then I was there 5-6 days a week. And I really enjoyed that. The thing that really, so then like Northern Midwest shut down their brick and mortar stores. They kind of left the state, did their whole thing. But I was back in school. Like when I worked at Midwest, I went back to college to get my degree in graphic design.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of, you know, like I was a full-time student, had to like, so, you know, it just kind of drifting a bit with the school and working and being like, man, I wish I could go, like I was trying to figure out what I could do like as a job or, you know, to do it. And then I was talking with a friend of mine and he was like, you know, he kind of just like hinted to me that he's like, you know, you would be good at running this kind of store. Like, because I've been a manager, I've been supervisor,
Sure.
I've done a lot of the background stuff at retail stores.
Yeah.
So I knew a lot of that process. And then it really kind of like, I had a buddy of mine just kind of like pretty bluntly tell me, he's like, I think you should open a homebrew supply store. Like, I think, and he wasn't even like a brewer.
Yeah.
Like, that was the thing, is he was like, he's a drinker.
Right.
But he was like, you're good at brewing. You have a lot of the knowledge.
Yeah.
You're good at retail. You're good at sales.
Right.
So I then.
The fucking moons are aligning.
Yeah. And
Gotta
then,
be.
I'd also like the year before had kind of gone through like my mom had passed, so like I was kind of going through a lot of stuff with that, and then I was just talking to my dad one day and I was like, I really want to open a homebrew supply store, and my dad was like, really? And then he kind of got on board with it with me. Like, he was like, I think you would be good at that. Like, he'd tried some of my brewing. He knew I was knowledgeable and passionate about it. And so, like, he kind of, my dad owns a business. He's bought a lot of properties and stuff for his business. And so it kind of was like, I kind of used him as the resource of, like, I was like, okay, well, like, the first thing I don't know is how do I find a space? Like, and he's like, oh, you go on, here's like the websites I use to look at like commercial or residential places. So it just started being like looking at properties.
How far are you from your spot? You said you do live in Rogers.
I live about 3.5 miles away.
Oh, damn, that's awesome.
I just live on the other side of the highway.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and that was not the first place. Like, it was the first place I looked at online.
Yeah.
Because I was looking for places in Rogers, but then I looked in Minneapolis, I looked in Golden Valley. Someone showed me the Midwest Supply location in St. Louis Park.
Yeah.
And I was dumb enough that I drove there, being like, they're like, yeah, we have this great spot, blah, blah, blah. And then like, I like typed in the address and was driving, and I was like, this is really close to where Midwest was. And then the navigation told me to turn, and I was like, how did I not know the address of the place I worked at for 7? And then
crazy, dude.
I got out, and the lady was standing there, and she's like, you want to see it? And I was like, no, I can't afford this. This building's huge.
Right.
I'm like, that building's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need like a quarter of this thing.
Right.
But yeah, I looked kind of all around, and then the rent was just so crazy. Like,
affordable or
not
affordable.
affordable as I would like. I saw like 6 buildings in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
They didn't really work for me. Like, a lot of them didn't have garage doors and stuff like that.
Right.
And they were also like really expensive, like over 10 grand a month kind of rent.
Stupid.
Yeah, just stupid. And like,
you'd have to be pumping shit out of there to even make rent.
Yeah, and it's like
ridiculous.
That, like, you're talking like the spaces that I saw in like Golden Valley and Minneapolis, just my shop area.
Wow.
All of them were smaller than that.
Wow.
And then, so I found the place I finally got to look at the place in Rogers, and I was like, this is something I can afford per month.
Right.
And it's way more space than I fully needed I say that. And now you look at the back warehouse and it's just filled with pallets and stuff. It's like, no, I filled it out pretty quick. Right. And then it just came down to, I'm like, I don't want to drive to and from Minneapolis 7 days a week.
Right.
Like,
yeah, you probably, yes,
like
the foot traffic could probably be good and things like that. Shit like that would be probably good. But it's such a
yeah.
it's such a weird business anyway right now.
Yeah, it's a specific hobby store, like, and I do have, like, I do have like like I have kombucha and I have soda stuff and I have, some canning supplies and stuff. So there is, but I've also found that, like, being in Rogers, like, I'm really not that far from Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Right.
But I have a lot of customers who live north, or I have customers who come to me from Wisconsin and North Dakota. Like, I have a guy who drives from Fargo every like 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm all he's coming down for.
Just because you're right off 94 pretty much, I suppose, huh?
And I told him, I was like, I can ship to you, right? Like, I was like, you're only buying like a beer or two at a time. I could ship that to you easy. Right. And he's like, yeah, but I like talking to you.
That's like, even cooler,
great for
man.
Me, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
So it's that kind of thing.
I think, and honestly, man, I have to say, and this is why I feel like, before I even talk to you, just hearing how you interacted with that one lady, you know what I mean? And again, she was probably the nicest lady, and she seemed really nice. I said square. I want to take that back because I'm kind of a weirdo. We're kind, we're different than she was, dude, you handled it like a pro, and I was just sitting there like admiring it. I was like, that's fucking I'm down, dude. That's and that's the thing, man. I know when I have one buddy of mine who, when he heard that I was brewing, he started asking me questions. Are you going full grain? Did you do this? Have you done that? And I'm like, have you brewed before? He's like, dude, I love it. I don't tell anybody about it. He said, nobody nerds out with me like that. And all of a sudden, I started getting into one thing, and I'm just like posting. I did this one. Oh yeah, what'd you do in this? And he'd just hit me up anytime I'd post. He'd ask me questions, and now, hey man, we need to get together and brew one, and we haven't yet. Like I have other friends who go to breweries, like they do Surly Fest, they do all these other places. I've got a friend that goes literally, he hits probably 3 breweries a weekend. Him and his chick, they go, and he sends me, I could pull up Facebook and just scroll up, and you'd see 30 beers in the last month and 2 months. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But when you get around folks that enjoy the process of it, man, like I got the guy from Zymergy. I don't know if you've been over there at all. Super cool dude. John Christensen is a super cool dude. He went to school for brewing. Like, he did all this crazy shit. I started asking him questions. He was just like, yeah, maybe we'll have to get you to come over, like, you know what I mean? He could tell I was into it, but again, I've talked to Todd Haig a bunch of times, trying to talk to him about beer, and he's just like, you can tell he's been in it so long. He's like, don't even bother me with that right now. You know what I'm saying? Not that Todd wouldn't talk to me. I'm just saying he's so far in the process, and he ran Surly, and he did 3 Floyds, and he did all, you know what I mean? Yeah. So all that knowledge is like, yeah, kid, when you grow up a little bit, you know?
Well, and that's like, I think that's where like a lot of the people who like, especially in like the commercial sphere, like their life is so like their whole work life is around it. So like I've had buddies who work at like breweries or have been head brewers at places, and it's always like talking beer with them, and like, or we'll like hang out and talk, and they'll like sample my homebrew, but they're like, I don't want to fucking talk about brewing, man. I've brewed 8 batches this week. Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. Right. I want to talk about it. And
anything
I get
else.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how do you keep it a hobby, dude? How have you not been pulled into a situation like that? Because I'm sure as long as you've been doing it in, 5 to 6 years or whatever, and having a brew store, I mean, there's got to be people that have approached you or something like that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's been weird. I've had like, I've ran into like customers like out and about where like bumped into them and like at a brewery or something and talked home brewing with them. And I think I'm a little bit different on that where like I genuinely enjoy talking about brewing to the point where like I cut myself off in conversations
because you don't want
because I'm like, I don't want to overwhelm someone with the bullshit, like it's one of those things where it's like, because that's like, so one of my favorite comments that I've had about my store was from a lady who very early on, she came in and she left like a 5-star comment on my store.
Yeah.
And her thing is that she's like, her whole point was that he's like, his ego wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like he listened to what I needed. He asked me some questions and he went from there. And I was like, it didn't really dawn on me that I'm like, oh, that's part of it for me, is that it's like, I can scale my knowledge down.
Yeah.
Like, do I read a lot and do I know the deep technique and science and things like that? Yes. And when I have those like master brewers come into my store, I like to kind of go toe to toe with them on knowledge on it. But I definitely enjoy more just talking with people who are doing this and getting started. And
that's what I'm talking about.
I can throw the I can throw the bullshit behind.
Right.
You know, like.
Now, you've got tattoos. I've got tattoos. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that when I started getting tattooed, it was completely different than it is now. You know, grandma's got tattoos and shit. You know what I mean? But that attitude, that ego, is exactly the same thing. And I will refer to another store in town that when I walked in there, it wasn't a welcoming place. It was like the first tattoo shop that I walked into. It was like, what are you doing here? How much knowledge do you have? Do I really want to waste my time talking to you? Kind of one of them things like, I'm not necessarily better than you, but your questions are going to be stupid, and I don't really feel like answering them. You know what I'm saying?
And I've been to a lot of places where that kind of thing, where it's like, there's just sometimes you walk into a place and you get the feeling you annoyed the person working there by walking through the door.
Yeah.
And
how can you have a business like that?
Yeah. And like, that's a real, like, and that's like a thing with like the mom and pop shops where like, you know, like you'll see sometimes like, oh, I can't believe this store closed. And it's like, it closed because the people hated doing it.
Yeah.
You know, like they did it for so long.
Yeah.
They wanted out. They were tired of it. They wanted, you know, and it's like, finally, like, you got to cut it loose.
Yeah.
And it's like, so there are businesses that just kind of operate because that's what they do.
Right.
And it's
dude. Well, I remember Brew and Grow when I went there for the first time because, like, for me, touching brewing, my grandfather brewed beer when I was a kid, and he must have been really lazy with it because it always seemed like there was an issue with it, and that's why he quit doing it, is because he just had so many issues with it, he couldn't continue to do it. Now, when I got into it, I was like, what's going on? You must have been, but it's probably changed a whole bunch.
It's changed a lot over the years. But there's also that thing where, like, like, it just seems like because I've had some customers where, like, I always say, like, brewing, like, if you can cook, you can brew beer. You can make mead. You can make wine. You can do it all.
Yeah.
Because it's just cooking. It's culinary. It's a culinary craft.
Oh yeah.
Like but it's like
creativity too. That when you're getting creative with it, man. When you like, lock it in.
I've talked with some people where it's just like, I don't have the heart to tell them that it's like, I don't think brewing's for you. Like, because it's like, like, some people don't understand how, like, the sanitization is like the number one brewing standard you need.
Right.
Like, you can pretty much, it's honestly one of the key principles of it. Like, it's more important than like ingredient quality.
Right.
Is like sanitizing. And you'll get like, I've talked to people where they're like, I was like, well, they're like, it molded over. And I'm like, well, did you sanitize everything? Sanitize. It's like, okay, well, that's what happened, is that it molded over because it was dirty.
Yeah.
And then you tried to ferment in it and the bacteria took over. Yeah. And that's where you are now. Like, dump it out and maybe get rid of the bucket. Yeah.
I was scrolling through Marketplace just looking at kegs, and I was like, oh, do I want to inherit somebody else's problem? I don't know, this, that, and the other thing. And I found one guy that had 2 5-gallon kegs, and he's like, $25 a piece. They're like brand new, but one of them has beer in it from like 5 years ago. And I was just like, no.
So used kegs are a great deal.
Yeah.
Like, because like stainless steel, you can clean.
Yeah.
Like you throw some PBW in it and let it soak and run it through.
Yeah.
It'll be just fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, like I regularly get like someone who's like, hey, I was brewing years ago and I'm trying to sell this equipment, because people try to sell like used equipment to me, and I'm like, you know, like I had a guy like, he's like, I got like 16 plastic brew buckets. You want to buy them? And I'm like, not at all. And
I
he's
got
like
26 back there.
Yeah, I'm like, I buy them by the 40 pack. And on top of that, I'm like, I have no clue what the fuck you did.
Right.
Because it is like, there is things where it's like you start getting into like the, you know, like sours or like Brettanomyces in like the Belgian beers for like the funk. That's not coming out of plastic.
Right.
And you brew something with Brettanomyces in a plastic bucket, and then you just like do your standard clean and wash, and then you dump your like amber ale into it. It's going to be a funky ass amber ale.
Ooh.
Because that's, you know, like, and I learned that lesson firsthand. Like I have like 2 buckets that just have in giant bold Sharpie sour bucket written across it, because it's like, if I throw a regular beer in it, it's going to get weird.
Yeah, right.
It's not going to be what it was supposed to be.
That's something going on. Which bucket? Oh, I didn't see that on there. Is it big letters?
Oh, yeah. I and it's everywhere. Like, I wrote it like 10 times on there just because I'm like, don't screw that up. Because
let me ask you about hops. Let me see, like bittering. Do you boil your hops? Do you flame out dry hop? What is your favorite? What do you use? All of them?
I like using so like my go-tos, like if I'm brewing something specifically just for myself, or like not going off of like a style or anything, I'll go for like Amarillo. There's a couple hops out of like, it's either Australia or New Zealand, but like Galaxy and Enigma are 2 just, I think they're really great hops, especially in like the dry hop or Whirlpool edition.
Gotcha.
They just bring out these like super awesome, like tropically fruity notes. I do a lot of like bittering hop additions, because I brew a couple IPAs every year. Yeah. But it's not really my style. Like, specifically, like I'm not a hazy IPA guy. I like, you know, like I like Bell's Two Hearted and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Like clear IPAs, I like those.
Yeah.
But I always try to make a couple crowd pleasers, you know, kind of things.
Sure.
But like my favorite hops for like bittering and stuff are like the Hallertau Mittelfuhr.
Yeah.
And Centennial. Whenever I'm like writing a recipe and I know I'm going to do like a 60 or 30 minute hop addition in the boil, and I don't have a game plan yet for it, I will write one of those 2.
Nice. Like
just as like a base, like I'll be like, if I don't come up with a better solution, this is what I'm going to use for bittering.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, just a fucking marker.
Yeah, because I told you, so I made that Crush Smash beer.
Yep.
And then, so I made that in February, and then a couple weeks ago.
What'd you use for grain on that?
I used a Crisps lager malt, so it's really light. It's a really light, like kind of Pilsner malt.
Gotcha.
And then so I brewed that in February. And then like 3 weeks ago, I brewed another version of it where I just added like, I added like a half pound or a pound of like Carapils into it. Yeah. Just give it a little bit more body and foam. And then, I liked the crush hops, but I like the one complaint I have with that beer is that I don't think crush works super well as a bittering addition.
Okay.
I think it's better in that like 5 or in a Whirlpool at like 170 or dry hopped.
Gotcha.
Works really great. But the bittering of that beer is a little weird.
Okay.
So And I was like, well, I don't really have a better idea.
It has a dragon fruit kick to it. I could see how that would change a little bit, because it's changed from the time that I got it in the keg. I force carbed it a little bit before it went out. I must have, again, pushed on a hose or something, had something going goofy. So I tasted it right when, that same night after it carved up a little bit, and it was sweet, had that dragon fruit. Now, after I carved it again, got the new tank from you, hit it again the next day, and I put it, like you said, at serving pressure, and just let it sit for a little while and fucking tuned it up. It tasted, I could tell the difference though.
Yeah. But in that rebrew, I was like, I don't have a better option for what to use for bittering. Like I didn't have anything in mind. So I just wrote Centennial. Because I think it adds a good bitter. Like it adds the right kind of bitter to the beer.
That's one that I've just actually started using. God, I think I bought them, the last 3 from you that I've used, and they're fantastic. I really like Centennial a lot.
Yeah.
It has a great flavor to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been that one, and then it's usually if I'm making like an American style beer, I'll use that. And then if I'm using like a European style beer, I'll use the Hallertau Mittelfuhr.
That's something I've seen it up in a bunch of different recipes.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen it in a ton of different recipes, and it's like they'll pair it with something else. You know what I mean? Like it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and they mix it together, and it,
the one hop thing that always just pisses me off endlessly, and it's gonna be it's a problem that's never gonna go away either.
Yeah.
But it's like the amount of people who just like because you go online and you find all these beer recipes and everything.
Yeah.
And then you'll see these recipes that just say Hallertau.
Yeah.
That is the most useless piece of fucking information you can give. There's 5 varietals of Hallertau. It's not one hop.
Right.
Like it's not like there's literally one called
See,
Blanc,
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
See?
So it's like it literally like people be like, I need 2 ounces of Hallertau. Do you know which one? There's more than one? There's 5?
Then you have to ask them what they're doing, and then you kind of can decipher between them.
Yeah, because usually what I'll do is I'll pull them out. I'll pull out the options, and then because the packages do have like the profile on them, so you then get to choose like which of these profiles do you want to use.
Yeah,
and that works really well. But it drives me up the wall when like because I'll get people who will like. I have a lot of people who will like fly by the store where they'll be like, hey, they'll email me the recipe, but then like their recipe just says Hallertau, and it's like, need more information than that, man. You're gonna have to, you gotta pick one.
There's got to be a bunch of those little things that pop up, dude. When it comes to that, what are some of your favorite go-tos to brew? What are some of your let me get one of the trickiest for you to brew. What has been one of the trickiest beers to brew?
I think the style that I've struggled the most with has been some of my Belgian beers that I do. I really like Belgian beers.
Yeah.
And I've made 2 that I'm very happy with. But a lot of the, like, I've probably brewed like 15 Belgian beers.
Oh, shit.
So having 2 that I'm happy with isn't great numbers. But it's like, and it's never been like, none of them have ever been like bad.
Yeah.
But it's always just like, like it's a weird style because it like relies like, unlike American beers, which rely on like the malt and the hops as the main character.
Yeah.
Belgian beers tend to be like, extremely yeast dominant.
Yep.
So you get that like banana and clove.
Right.
And so for a long time, I'd brew this beer and it'd be like, has a ton of the banana, none of the clove.
Right.
And then the next time I'd make some adjustments and it'd be like, that's all clove, no banana. And
that's got to be that's a tough one to mess with too, right? Is clove? Yeah. Clove's a tricky one, isn't it?
Well, and that's just one of the esters.
Oh,
like that's the banana and clove is just that's the yeast.
Wow, okay.
And it's how you temperature regulate the fermentation.
Whether it's what's going to come out more on it?
Yeah, because I think it's like if you want a little bit more on the clove side, you do a slightly colder, like mid to low 60s.
Okay.
And then, so there's actually a guy who comes in who's very predominant in like Belgians and Saisons is his thing. And I've learned a lot from talking to him because he's talking about how like he goes from like he'll start the fermentation at like 62, 64 degrees.
Yeah.
And then he'll ramp it up in temp up to like 75, 76, 77. And
just to get specific flavors out.
Yeah, out of the yeast.
Wow.
So it's one of those things where I was like,
so if you're doing it at a certain temp, you're only going to, so as he's ramping it up, he's pulling the other flavors out as he goes.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, because the temperature makes all the difference. Because then, like, it threw me off because I had a person who, like, was brewing a Belgian beer. And I normally ferment pretty warm. Like, I usually try to keep them above 70 when I'm doing them. Up until the last few where I've started doing what this guy told me.
Right.
But I had like one guy make the comment that he was like, he bought pretty funky Belgian yeast from me. And then he's like, I'm going to ferment it at 58 degrees. And I was like, why? And he's like, I want to suppress the esters. And I was like, then why are you brewing a Belgian beer? Like, if you're suppressing the esters of the yeast, why are you using it? Like, because clearly he doesn't like Belgian beers. Then.
Right.
Like, you know, it was just, he's like, I just want to suppress the esters. And I was like, okay. Like, that's the one thing the beer has going for it is how weird and funky they are with those flavors.
Man, that's really cool that people man, I guess I kind of stay in my lane when I like what I brew. And
yeah, what do you brew?
I do a lot of ales. I just stay in my lane. I like Irish reds. I like smash beers, just easy stuff that's not too complicated that I don't have to do. I mean, there's really I don't go too far. I've done a couple IPAs that IPA isn't my thing. I like to be very subtle when it comes to the hops. I don't like it to be super punchy. So when I do an IPA, I dial it down a lot. I mean, I like the flavor of it if it's done right, but if it's overpowered. One of the best things that somebody said to me when it comes to brewing is that all the beers you taste commercially were brewed for that person's palate.
Yeah.
And when you like what you like, you're going to go to that specific thing. You're going to be experimental and you're going to brew a bunch of cool stuff and you're going to find the things that you really like and you're going to fucking tune them in. You're going to try ones that you really like. Oh, okay, I can do this. I can do that. You're going to, if you're like us, tinkerers like us, you're going to want to get to the bottom of where those flavors come from and what is it that you really like. Oktoberfest, like you're talking about brewing tomorrow.
Yeah.
One of my favorite beers of all. It's a great all around beer for me. I really enjoy the flavors of an Oktoberfest. I just really, I don't know exactly how it's brewed. I don't know exactly, but I do enjoy those. That would be something that I would like to try to brew. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I think, there's a few things because I'm with you. Like I don't brew IPAs all that often. I genuinely speaking, if I'm making an IPA, that's a good sign that there's a party in the next month.
Somebody's asking for it, right?
Well, someone might not be asking for it, but I know that IPAs tend to be like a good crowd pleaser at a Halloween party or something.
Right.
So that's generally the only reason I'll brew them because it's if I want an IPA, I'm going to go to a brewery. Right. I don't want 5 gallons of IPA on tap. I don't want that.
Dude, 3 was a lot for me. I was like, oh my God, you want some of this? Here, I'll give you a growler full of it. I think I ended up giving out a couple growlers. Like, let me get that back when you're done with it. It never came back. You know what I'm saying? But I was okay with it because I was just trying to get the fuck out of the house, man.
Yeah, that's the IPAs. I'm just I don't, I'll go to a brewery and have 3 beers.
Yeah.
I might order 1 IPA and then I'm trying everything else on the tap because it's just I like them.
Are there any breweries in town that you really like that you like to shout out? That ones that you frequent?
So I go to Ripple Effect in Rogers all the time. It's a really small one. The staff's awesome. it's also like I really like the dynamic they do, where it's like they're very event heavy. So like they have
cool
like,
shit going on there all the time.
Because it's I don't know if you remember the Hardys in Rogers. Yeah, so that's what ripple effect about that building, and that's a brewery now.
Oh, nice.
So it's not like it was a fast food restaurant at one point, so it's not huge, but their beer is awesome. And there's, you know, like they have live bands playing on Fridays and stuff. They have, you know, cribbage tournaments and trivia, and they do, you know, all sorts of
like
things.
That.
Yeah,
I love spots like that. I know Omni does that up here too.
Yep. There's also one down in St. Paul that I'm a big fan of, Wandering Leaf.
Oh, you mentioned that the other day.
I really like those guys. I actually like Matt, one of the owners. I actually like he sold me the first kit.
Oh,
like
nice.
the first homebrew kit.
Yeah.
He
That's
sold
crazy,
that
dude.
to me. But then like he was actually someone who I like went out and like I sat down and talked with him a couple times when I was like getting the idea to open Minnesota Homebrew.
Yeah.
Was like I was like, all right, I got to go talk to this guy.
Awesome,
because he was also like, he opened a brewery.
Oh yeah.
It's different, but we're buying a lot of the same things. Like I kind of like, I used him a little bit as a soundboard.
Yeah. So did you have connections from being in kind of the industry from before? So like wholesalers and people that you get your stuff from. Did you do a lot of research before you got into it, or was it things that you were like, oh yeah, I could reach out to this guy, or I could maybe get in touch with this company, or?
So I didn't, as far as like the business side, I didn't have a ton of contacts. Mm-hmm. I did have like a really weird conversation.
Yeah.
That like, so like one of the big vendors I have is a company called BSG. And they're actually located down in Shakopee. And, there was just like a weird time where like I got like a random phone call from them. I think it was one of my like first orders of stock or something.
Yeah.
And so like this account manager called me, a guy named Ilya.
Yeah.
And he calls me and we're talking and I was like, he said his name and we were talking. And then he was like, oh, it's just really great to like a homebrew store opening. It's really, really big. I used to, because he worked for Midwest and Northern. But he was like, when I worked there, he was our BSG rep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, I had to make the comment. I was like, oh, actually, you know what? We've met. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I was the big guy with dreadlocks who worked at Midwest. Because when Midwest announced the closure, he came in and he was like, oh, I want to do something for you guys because I feel bad about this. So he actually bought like a bunch of pizzas for us one of the days.
So he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was just like, that was like my only, like, I maybe met him like once or twice, just like him stopping in or whatever. But it was just one of those things where he like called me out of the blue just to like check over the account information and like confirm the order.
That's right.
And then we're talking and I was like, I think we met.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm pretty sure you bought pizza for me and my coworkers when we were losing our jobs.
That's sweet, dude. That's sweet, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, you basically answered all the rest of the questions, and I love it, dude. It's a cool thing, man. I wish you all the best in this deal, man. Please, everybody, if you're thinking about getting into home brewing at all, man, stop by this place, Minnesota Homebrew, 22043 Industrial Boulevard, Suite 2, Rogers, Minnesota, or give them a call, 763-209-3973, or drop them an email, mn.homebrew@gmail.com. He's got all kinds of stuff there, man. I can't, you could probably tell what do you have available there for folks if you want to just kind of give them the glance over real quick.
Yeah. I've got everything I take homebrew as the term of anything you're making at home. So I've got grain, hops, yeast. I've got wine kits, cider kits. I've got the equipment for making it. I've got kombucha. I've got kombucha scobies.
I wish I would have known that a week ago. I would have I'm still come on over and get one anyway.
I have tea. I have loose leaf tea packages. I have locally roasted coffee. I have supplies for spices. Uh, well, I was gonna say, I was like, I mean, technically, if you're a distiller, I also have all the things you could potentially use.
That's
as
all
well.
changed. That's all changed
changing
as well,
too.
right?
Yeah,
yeah.
It hasn't changed yet, but
they're working on it, right?
But there's big motion in that industry.
I saw that like a month ago, or very close. Yeah, about a month ago, and I was like, wow, that's huge, because that was something that I looked into after I started getting into this whole thing too, and everybody's like, oh, you want to be real careful with that. You don't want to get involved in any, you know what I mean? Like, it could be bad. So I was like, yeah, I'll stay away from that. But my buddy, like a month ago, goes, dude, I still have a still. And I was like, what? And he goes, you want to get into it? I'm like, maybe, man, maybe.
Yeah, it's, it's one of those things where it's like, it is possibly the most secret hobby out there.
Right.
Because like, everyone thinks of like home distilling and stuff, and they think of like moonshiners in the backwoods.
Right.
And it's like, that's
Bathtub
the smallest portion of them is the people out in the backwoods.
Right.
Because it's the amount of people who are doing it.
Dude, don't they even make machines now that you can just fucking do things in and they just runs
well,
it?
that's the thing that's so fucked about like the whole like home distillation being illegal. But then Amazon sells 37 different types of stills shipped to your house next day.
Right.
On Prime.
Right. Right. I know,
like,
I saw 3 of those when I was looking at my little tincture machine, dude. I was like, what? They make coffee machines that are basically stills? Like, what the fuck is this already, man? Holy smokes, man. That's crazy.
Well, and then it's like the thing of like, they want, it's something they want illegal or whatever, but like, even if you ban like the companies who are manufacturing and selling them with zero regulation, because that's what they're doing.
Right.
Because like I regularly get like emails from my vendors being like, hey, you want to carry this line of stills? And I'm like, no, I don't. I do not.
Right.
Because I feel like that could come down on me somehow.
Right, exactly.
So I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah. We're the ATF. We're here to...
Yeah. But it's like, I worked at Home Depot.
Right.
It's like, there was definitely a customer with how much random ass pieces of copper he was purchasing that I was like, oh, you're making a condenser.
Yeah.
Like, and I said that out loud, and the guy was like, what? And I was like, nothing. And then he was like, I am. And they bought the stuff and left. And I was like, oh, yeah. I was like,
where's the party at, dude? When can I get a jar? You know? Hell yeah, that's awesome, dude. Well, hey, man, thanks for coming in to do this, man. I appreciate you. Again, folks, check out Minnesota Homebrew over in Rogers. What are your hours? What's your hours over there?
So it's Monday through Wednesday is 11 to 6, and then Thursday 11 to 7. Fridays are 10 to 7. Saturdays are 10 to 6, and then 11 to 4 on Sundays.
And you do some brewing on Saturdays, like every other Saturday or something?
Yeah, try to keep like every other Saturday. I got to get better about posting and like announcing when I'm doing those, because oftentimes it's like I'll brew on a Saturday and I'll have a guy show up the next Saturday being like, hey, you're not brewing today, and I was like, I brewed last week.
Yeah, dude.
So I got to get better about actually posting that.
Dude, I'm on all the time. I'm not even joking you. I'm on all day, pretty much, in and out of Facebook, Instagram. I mean, dude, let me know. I will post or share anything you want to, dude. This is one of my favorite hobbies that I do. Like, I really, really look forward to brewing. So it's like one of those things for me, man. I always like to help homies out too when it comes to stuff. This is, how many metalheads do I know that love to drink beer? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I would love to share that stuff for you. So if you next time you do that and you get a flyer together, or you fucking want to set one up, I make flyers all the time for my shit. Every week I'm making a flyer. So it's, you do fucking, graphic design. You know how easy it is. It's just snap, 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 and you got it ready to go right there, So yeah, keep me in the loop on that stuff, man. I'll be coming in and out. And now that I know you got the kombucha stuff, I bought a SCOBY online again with the Amazon shit, because I'm like, who's going to carry a SCOBY locally? And I should have thought about it just to check at least, because you do have stuff that there's one corner that I didn't even make over in your shop yet. So, it's like kind of graze over and go, oh, I know what I want. I got to get my shit and get out of here, but again, dude, thank you very much for coming in. I want to actually hit these flyers one more time. There are some shows coming up, folks, for the Vin guys, and what I'm guessing is the Cats in And I Found a Way. Let's see here. Saturday, that's tomorrow at White Squirrel. Music at 9 p.m. That's And I Found a Way, Garden Glow, and Daisy Cutter. Let me pop this one because we're getting ahead of ourselves here. And then the 22nd is Vin Dragged Out to Sea. Only time at the Tree Dome in Rochester. Tree Dome Records in Rochester. That's the 22nd. That's next Friday. 6:30 doors. $10 all ages show. Let me click some buttons here. Close some of these down. The 20th is again with And I Found a Way, I believe, is the Cats there. Self-evident lost leader, or does it explode? And I Found a Way. June 20th, Zora Darling, $10 in advance, 15-day of show, 7:30 p.m. doors, 21 plus on that one. And then the 26th with the fancy flyer. I love this flyer. It's fantastic. Underground music venue, not Club Underground. Make sure you know the difference. You're going to be watching shows and buying drinks at the other place, wondering why your buddies, and then they're going to call you and go, dude, where are you? Phase Meridian, Usilic, Vin, and I don't know what this bottom one is. Something Earth. Vanishing Earth? Looks like Vanishing Earth. I'm getting blind. I need to get a bigger screen, I think, or get glasses, one of the two. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in and checking us out. If you're watching this at any time, again, I really appreciate you folks. Thank you so much for all the people that have been subscribing and just getting involved in the podcast, liking the episodes and things like that. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the podcast, like the videos, go back, check out some of our previous episodes. Lots of cool bands. We do have a YouTube video compilation playlist thing. It is in my posts on my Facebook. If you guys want to go there, that's Facebook.com/Chilton666. That's my Facebook. That's my direct one. So you can bug me there if you want